their season, and they're more apt to be caught. And Nebraska's 76 area state parklands, the grounds to those remain open for all kinds of outdoor recreation, including camping. So come see us. That'll wrap it up for now. Thank you for listening. I'm Greg Wagner with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over. Danced to another victim to the crossovers. Crossed him up and set him down.
Oh, that's me. Yeah. How about that?
It's crossover time.
It is. And it's powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
We are ready.
Jimmy, this is you, man. You get to set the table with the topics.
Well, since I have you here,
yeah,
and apparently I'm in good company because all four of us, our teams were not successful yesterday. It was not a good day for football.
No.
And I was excited for Nick because I knew it was coming if the Dolphins won yesterday morning, a new jersey. And I was like, come on. And then it's 21-0, just like that. And I'm thinking, no jersey. But then they teased me into thinking it was coming. And I was already thinking he's going to get the Tua jersey. It's happening. Throwback jersey and nothing. And that was just the start of my NFL Sunday.
That's what I was going to do. I decided if the Dolphins beat the Chiefs, I was going to get the jersey just to symbolize that they beat the Chiefs in Germany.
But at least you don't have to spend money.
That's true.
Got to buy you meals. That's like 20 days worth of meals for Nick.
That's true.
It is.
So there you go.
So at least you're going to be fed.
It worked out. I left the decision up to the universe, and the universe wanted me to eat, I guess.
Food, I guess.
Food's important, Nick. That's good.
It's almost anticlimactic that the game of the day, well, I guess the Dallas game was a close second if it wasn't first, happens that damn early in the morning. Because then you're like, because, that game got over and then the Rams game started. And you want to talk about a difference, a jarring difference
in level of play?
Between the level of play from one game to the next. Not that the Dolphins and the Chiefs lit up the scoreboard because they didn't.
No.
But there was always a threat that they could. The Packers and the Rams, meanwhile, couldn't threaten anything. And it was brutal.
The Packers are just turning the ball over without getting touched sometimes. Like, hey, here you go. Here's the football, Rams.
Can I interest you in the ball?
Yeah.
I am so sick of bad quarterback play right now. It is making me nauseous. I mean, watching Brett Rippon yesterday
after Harbaugh
was like watching Heinrich Harbaugh, and I was getting mad. It was just like, why?
Mark Rippon not available.
Mark Rippon would have done better.
Super Bowl MVP.
This year's Mark. No, I'm talking today. Mark Rippon, like 65-year-old or however old he is. Mark Rippon would have done better than Brett.
Yeah, he struggled. That wasn't a fun game to watch.
Thank goodness for Red Zone.
Thank goodness for Red Zone.
Well,
thank goodness for the Texans yesterday. How about
I didn't see any Red Zone yesterday. It's the first time I haven't seen Red Zone all year.
You didn't watch it in the later game? Oh, I guess the other game sucked.
Because I was also watching the last NASCAR race as I was watching the football game.
The last NASCAR race?
Yeah, they determined a champion.
How did that go? Did someone lift a trophy?
Yeah.
Two
people left it.
What's the trophy? Two? Did they tie?
Well, there was the race winner and then the championship winner.
Oh, okay. Is the trophy bigger for the whole season?
It's a huge trophy.
Is it?
It's a big-ass cup.
What's it called?
It's called the NASCAR Cup.
NASCAR Cup.
It used to be called the Winston Cup. Remember that?
Think of it as the Winston Cup.
I do.
Well, but then they banned all the cigarette advertising.
For most of
Nick,
my
you
life,
should be supportive of this.
For most of my life, it was the
Holy
Cup.
God! That trophy is massive.
The Bill France Cup.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Good Lord.
It's actually a pretty cool trophy.
Nick, are you pro people dying of smoking cigarettes?
No, I just always knew it was the Winston Cup forever.
Okay.
And it just kind of rolls off the tongue.
It does. It was a brilliant piece of marketing because they signed on with NASCAR the same year they got banned from all, the commercial TV. And so they were getting TV advertising by just simply being the Winston Cup.
That's crazy.
Then it was
That's smart marketing.
Cigarette companies got really creative with advertising on race cars too. In Formula One, it was Ferrari that had Marlboro as a sponsor for so long. Then they got banned, but then they did this barcode design to where if the car was passing you really fast, it looked like the Marlboro
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
ribbon,
yeah.
but you couldn't tell it when it was just standing still.
I can remember the Jumbotron at Spurs games as a kid. That big Winston ad. Oh, it's Winston cigarettes. Yes, okay. Asked my dad for $2 to get some candy cigarettes at the concession stand.
There was another thing.
Meanwhile, you couldn't smoke in the arena,
No.
probably.
There's another thing that Philip Morris, the cigarette company, currently does, where there's a feeder or a shell company of theirs called Mission Winnow, and you go to their website, and there's nothing on the website except that it's owned by Philip Morris.
Mission Winnow Cup. Got it.
Not a Mission Winnow. It's a sponsor for Ferrari.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So it's a cigarette sponsor without being a cigarette sponsor.
There you go.
Creativity,
And that's
my
talking
friends.
cigarettes on 1620 The Zone.
1620.
Never
The
smoked
Zone,
a
your
cigarette.
station.
By the way, I wasn't that far off. Producer Josh just said Mark Rippon, 61 years old.
Dang, what did
I
you say,
said
62?
I said 65.
Nice job, John.
Well, I mean, it was on the fly. It was a quick guess.
I always forget. Is Mark Rippon the guy who bonked his head, or was that
That's
Heath
Gus
Schuler?
Farrar.
No,
Oh, it's Gus Farrar.
Gus Farrar,
All
who
right.
Heath Schuler was benched for in '94. even though
Okay,
Heath Schuler was the high
okay.
draft.
Because I remember there was like a holy triumvirate of goofy
well,
quarterbacks.
Mark Rippon, I mean, he was MVP.
Yeah, he was sacked only 9 times in 1991.
Yeah.
But their first loss of the year was to the Cowboys at RFK.
Hell
24-21.
yeah.
And then the Cowboys went,
Hey, they made the playoffs that year.
And they lost to the Lions.
They lost
and
the
they
Lions.
lost to the Lions. Well, maybe history will repeat itself.
I hope not.
Go Lions.
I was talking about this with Schaefer yesterday. How good of a home field advantage do we think the Lions will have when they host a playoff game? Because they haven't
very
hosted,
good.
they've never hosted one at Ford
It'll
Field.
be very
And they
good.
haven't
Not
hosted one
since
since
that or actually the last time they
93
hosted the playoff
season, I believe.
93
Yeah.
wild card game against the Packers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like
It'll be very good.
It's gonna be intense, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It'll be tremendous. I'll be very happy. I'll be happy for him. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to be jumping on the Lions bandwagon now that my team is
Kiss,
decided to go
down
to
the
hell.
Bob
Peach-
Seger will be
Peachadoo.
jamming. The Kid Rock. All of those be great.
Yeah.
America's other team. That
Crazy
I'll
though. It
adopt
won't
as
be
well.
its first. The first postseason game in the history of that stadium was the Super Bowl.
It was.
The Steelers.
The bus's last game.
The Steelers over
The
the.
what did he say?
stopped
The
there.
bus stops here.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only postseason game in that stadium, and that's shoot
That was the 2005
40.
season.
So it's 18 years ago.
Wow. So here's something. Speaking of that game, so Friday night it was about time for me to go to bed, but I wanted to have something on. I just didn't want to like totally pay attention to it. So I was on YouTube and I stumbled upon in my algorithm 1 hour of like, it was crazy NFL highlights. And I was like, this is fun. I'll just throw this on. Ended up just watching it nonstop. I barely touched my phone. Well, anyway, it went all the way back into like black and white footage. I saw like a Gale Sayers run, a Jim Brown run, among like a bunch of modern stuff. But there was the Antoine Randall touchdown pass in that game at Ford Field. And that was Friday night. Of course, that was one day after Thursday night football. And so that highlight was Al Michaels calling the touchdown pass.
He was excited then.
My God, to hear Al Michaels today in the olden times versus the current time, that guy has checked out to a level in which, I mean, it makes me sad because he was my favorite play-by-play announcer most of my life in the NFL.
Yeah.
He has been my favorite.
Pull up a Monday night football game from early and mid 90s. Al Frank and Dan. I mean, that's the stuff I grew
classic.
up with. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it happens that,
And he called a hell of a baseball game.
He did what?
you just, sometimes you get so he doesn't want to be there, but he doesn't know what to do with himself without it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where he's at in his stage of life. And you feel for anyone who's in that spot, right? I'm sure it happens to everybody where
When's it going to happen to you?
it
already has, right?
It's already happened.
Yeah, it
It's
happens every day from
many
2 to
times.
6.
Got sad.
It's been many times.
Yeah.
By the way, that was a great pass. It was a great pass last night. Last play of the game. Hey, let's throw it short of the
What?
end zone.
Come on. I'm just making fun of you.
You want to throw something at me? I'm
Yeah.
going to throw something
No,
back
I'm
at you.
making fun of you as a human, not your team. Don't make fun of my team. Make fun of me as a human.
I mean, it was a nice pass. It just didn't get.
You'd rather me make fun of you as a human than make fun of
Sure.
your stupid football team?
Yeah.
Who always does stupid football things?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, only the Cowboys can get 2 gift calls,
Gift.
get down to the 5-yard line,
good
and
calls.
still say, no, that's all right.
Those
We
are-
don't want to win this
Those were
game."
good calls.
No, they weren't.
I thought the refs were horrible yesterday, except
they
for on
were.
those calls. Those were the only 2 good calls of the day.
Well, they got 3 calls.
Though Philadelphia,
I take 'em.
man, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah.
3rd and 7 on their last drive. hey, let's
And they
just
throw
let's
the
just
ball.
throw a deep pass.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
I was
That's how
watching-
you're going to convert a third down?
Riss and I didn't watch together yesterday.
That was
And-
smart
I
move.
wondered if
yeah,
you guys.
we did.
That's a smart move.
And so that play happens, and I look over at my dad and I say, she is livid right now because she hates their new offensive coordinator because he does stuff like that all the time.
it's tough
He
stuff.
throws the ball in inopportune situations, and it almost costs them to get. And when they guys are running into each other, it felt like I was watching a Nebraska game all over again.
It did.
The ball's just laying there. Oh,
They're for the
Philadelphia is
taking.
kind of the anti-Nebraska, right?
yeah,
In
they
that
win all the close
they win.
games.
Yeah, they foul up and they still win.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, until that last couple of drives, they played better than Dallas.
They played great in the first 3 quarters, and then they went
Played
3 and
great
out,
in the
3 and
third
out.
quarter.
Yes,
It was pretty even.
they
in the
went
first
3 and
half.
out every drive in the final quarter.
Yeah.
Good times.
They
I
were
bet it didn't
driving
mean
up and
anything.
down the field early in the game, and it was like, okay.
Yeah, everyone always says it, but when they get the ball, essentially all they got to do is gain 7 yards across the first 3 plays, and then it's like it's wild how it feels like 1st and 7 when they have the
Yeah.
football. you know?
On the I
so
guess,
frustrating.
I guess it was their second to last drive where they threw the deep ball on third down.
Yeah, that's right. Because the
third and
Knicks,
two.
yeah,
And like my son said, he said, why don't they just run the brotherly shove twice in a row?
I didn't get it.
Sometimes they get 2 yards on the brotherly shove, so they would have gotten.
Well,
the
gosh,
first
the
down.
one where they had the ball at the 1 yard line, they picked up like 3.
Yeah.
Micah was on top. It was like he was crowd surfing for a moment.
Like they play it well. It doesn't matter. What do you even count them for?
Triggered.
Oh well.
No surprise. 5-3. They'll win this week against the Giants. The whole country gets to watch that one. I'm sure.
Congrats, John. Fired
Oh,
up.
I'm not watching that game, man.
Ecstatic.
Joe writes, this is great. I will never root for the Lions because my stepdad's ex-wife cheated on him with a Lions fan.
Wow. Now that's a harsh way to lose a fan.
Yeah.
The poor Lions, this franchise that's been moribund for decades.
Yeah.
Yet not everyone's
Hey,
going to jump on the bandwagon who doesn't have a team because this dude's
Infidelity.
is
For
can you
second-
imagine hating a team, Josh, because of infidelity?
It's hard to imagine.
I can't imagine it.
Nope. Let alone the Lions of all teams.
Oh yeah.
The Lions of all teams.
Even Dan
I mean,
Campbell.
maybe a
talking
team
into it.
like
the Giants,
the Seahawks,
Eagles.
those are the types of teams
Yeah.
that, you don't feel for them.
No, not at all. The 49ers.
The
49ers. Yeah, just name
There,
all the
see,
NFC
that's
West
one
teams.
that everyone can agree on.
That
Hey,
is
good,
true. That's
good,
where our handshake meme
good
comes
news,
together.
Frisco fan. You didn't lose yesterday.
Hey, that's true. It's like they played Dallas all over again. They didn't lose.
They didn't lose.
Oh man. Oh man.
How about the Pastronaut, though, fellas?
Yeah, what's up with Odson?
This is becoming a thing. Yeah.
Is he still in here? He put the graphic. Did you see that near the
What?
end of the show? He had a Pastronaut.
No, this
Hell
is
yeah,
terrible.
Joshua
man.
Dobbs.
This is
Odson, I'm
terrible.
disappointed in
This
you.
is very.
I'll
You guys
be
aren't in
honest.
on Pastronaut?
I mean,
No.
this dude is
Not
finally
the
the first.
nickname. I
Ohio
like the
State-
guy.
He's the first Ohio State quarterback to actually do something.
No.
rocket
The
scientist.
Pastronaut is
that's right.
Joshua
Josh
Dobbs.
Whatever.
Yeah, see,
I
look.
get I'm getting.
He went to Tennessee, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Dan
right.
Pastrini could have been the original Pastronaut. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Brought that up.
Houston Oilers #1.
He's
There you
he's
go.
a rocket scientist. He's smart, and he plays for the Vikings. So now the Vikings are basically just Thor
See, the nickname
Ragnarok.
is so bad, I even forgot who you're referring to. That's how much I hate
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah, you thought he was talking about CJ Stroud. Now
Yeah,
that makes
I
sense.
don't-
He's in Houston.
That's true.
Oh.
Yeah, but he's not a
Oh.
rocket scientist.
Famously, he did
no,
score
but he's
poorly.
he's a really good quarterback.
Dude, he's
is.
awesome.
He's
the real
doing a
deal.
lot for the Texans.
He very much is. He very much is. I like watching him play football. I am stunned how much I enjoy watching the Texans. I find like when they
Isn't
show
it
up on
weird?
red zone, I gravitate. I'm like, yes.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes. I
You know
love
what
watching
you know what
the
the
Texans.
Texans are to me? They're the AFC Alkins.
They are.
I can't watch them. It's just like
John, not
even
this
when
year.
the Alkins are good, it's just like
Yeah, remember
the
when
Alkins.
Matt Ryan made the Super Bowl? It was like, yeah, this is boring.
yeah,
Or when
And
they
then
made
it
the
wasn't.
Super Bowl
To
in
get
'98, they
closer.
ruined the best Super
they
Bowl ever.
did.
Vikings,
I can't get
Broncos.
excited for the Texans.
I mean, to be fair, Morton Anderson missed it.
God,
He ruined it.
dude, I'm still triggered.
Pat
by that.
Summerall ruined it by telling us that Morton Anderson had missed all year,
Mhm.
followed by the miss.
well, the same thing happened
Sorry,
on
Keith.
Saturday with Will Reichert, the Alabama kicker, because Gary Danielson was
That was
or not
funny.
Danielson, but
Nessler.
Nessler was talking about his field goal streak, and then he pushed it to the right.
By the way, so my youngest brother, he's a Vikings fan. Texas. He says, "I can't believe you're out on my guy." I'm not out on Dobbs. I don't like the nickname.
The nickname's
I
terrible.
like Dobbs. That was such a cool moment yesterday.
I'm happy.
Were
for
you
I was
watching?
rooting. I did
for
not
them.
see it.
Oh,
I did
man.
not see
It's
it.
a sick
The
ass
Rams
nickname.
ruined everything.
The Rams
yesterday.
ruined everything. As soon as I realized this game is
You just
officially
leave?
done.
What'd you do?
Well, I had to go. We had leaves. Got leaves everywhere. I
Oh
had to
my
pick up
gosh!
leaves.
All the leaves are brown, John.
And the sky is
Well,
gray.
now,
it tonight.
and now they're in the track.
you couldn't have done
How
it.
am I going to do it tonight?
What do you
It's
mean?
going to be dark when I get
Who
home.
cares?
Use
I
a
can't pick up-
flashlight,
Use
John.
a flashlight. Get a
What?
headlamp.
What's
The helmet
John.
with the
It's
Yeah.
too late. I already did it.
They have the flashlights that, like the lights people put on their cars, where they just light up everything.
I'm not going to ask the neighborhood to come drive their cars and park them
Well,
around
no,
the
they have
house.
park on the
flashlights that do
side.
that, John.
I'm not going to treat this like a 6-man football game.
No, I'm saying they have flashlights that are just like that.
Well, guess what? I don't have to do that now because I did it yesterday.
Mhm.
And I needed to anyway. I was smoking something, so it
Oh,
gave me,
what were you smoking?
we had a roast that we had smoked and
oh
so
that
I was
kind
just
of-
so it gave me a chance to go watch this. No, I was
Sorry, I thought John was just chilling yesterday.
Nice.
No.
Ian texts
no
in.
legal smoking.
How terrible must that dude's stepdads be to make a woman cheat on him with a Lions fan?
Oh no!
It's a lot tough look
Well,
for the
but
guy now.
It makes sense though. If you're a Lions fan, you're looking for something else to do,
Yeah, that's true.
and so
someone.
someone else to do.
Joel says not supporting infidelity, but of all people, a Lions fan probably needed the sex. They don't score very often.
Yeah. So if anything, you maybe should root for the Lions so that less infidelity will happen.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm all for this. Go Lions.
You know, I mean, the Lions have been so bad for so long that, they've just given themselves other things to do on Sunday, like scamming the neighborhood for Strange.
Congrats on the sex, Lions fans.
At least with most of the other all franchises. I mean, even the Cowboys, when they have a bad year, they don't go out looking for Strange. Only Jerry Jones does.
Yeah.
He wants
mean,
glory
He's just one
hole.
old guy.
1989, they're 1-15. I don't remember tales of this that my dad's telling me. I'm
Yeah.
6 years old. I'm like,
Yeah.
Hey, young Jimmy. Going
Because it was all about, hey, but we got Troy Aikman.
we're going to be good.
man.
Actually, true story. I've told Josh this before. It's when I first started to really follow football, and it was Thanksgiving, so the Bounty Bowl. And so and so which I'm glad they got those clips in last night about Buddy Ryan's big rear end in the tunnel. And so I asked Dad, I'm 6, I'm in first grade. I go, Daddy, how come the Cowboys always have 0 by their name? And he just kind of looked down because at that point, I have no reference for what the Cowboys were. And my dad, whose prime was in the 70s, and he went to many games at Texas Stadium, he just looked down and he didn't have an answer for me because he was like, well, got me there.
I got nothing for you.
3 years later, he's buying me all the championships.
Oh, the Bounty Bowl.
Oh, it's fun. I just went to that. So I went to the Bounty Bowl Wikipedia page, and I was like, I wonder how the Eagles did that year. They lost to the Rams in the playoffs.
They did.
Oh, happy days.
Upset
At the
31-19.
They did.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
we
how many of their
smoked 'em.
fans got arrested,
We
I wonder.
smoked him at the vet. Though I do remember watching the Bounty Bowl.
Yeah, which one? The first one or the second one?
No,
The second one was comical. I do
Yeah.
remember Terry Bradshaw needed a helmet in the booth because they were throwing ice balls at Vern and Terry
Good
Bradshaw. during the
Lord.
game.
Yeah, Vern used to be a voice of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
long time ago.
Old Golden Throat, as he was known then.
Speaking of glory hole.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
know, Tina.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dirty jokes and stuff.
Hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. As we found out this year in the baseball playoffs, you don't have to win the division to win it all.
Just get in the tournament.
All you have to do is get in the tournament. And with football, it's even better because you don't have to win 2 games out of 3.
Gotta
or
win 4
3 out of
games.
5 or 4 out of 7. Just got to win one.
In the case of
One
the
per week.
Cowboys, they can get all road games because, hell, their home games are mostly road games anyway. So that doesn't bother me. Now, I don't have faith in Mike McCarthy to win in the playoffs, but that's another discussion. That's another thing.
Well, you got a couple months to worry about that.
Exactly, which is why I told Josh the other day, and I was wrong. I own up to that, but I really believed it. They would win yesterday, lose in January, and they were 6 yards away from doing just that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at
And
least
then
I got
they
the
ended up
point
with
in
the last
predictions.
play from the 27.
You did get the point in predictions, thanks to Dak not knowing where the sideline was.
Yep, but I
Wow,
didn't
you
get
called him Dak.
I didn't get the point in Nebraska predictions, as we'll discuss today.
Yeah, nobody got that.
No, we all were
We
wrong.
were all very wrong.
Yep.
Very, very, very wrong on that.
Did you guys read the quote that I sent you earlier? Did you get a
Mhm.
chance to read that?
Yes.
Smile because it happened.
No, a reporter asked Dak about a litmus test, and Dak is like, I don't know what a litmus test is, probably because I grew up in Louisiana and went to school at Missouri
He's got a
State.
good sense of humor. I have to give him that.
I don't know what that word means. At least he was honest.
Oh, I think he does know what the word means. He was just joking.
I'm going to use
He's
was
got a good
making a
sense of humor. I
tee-hee.
give him that. He handles it pretty well for all of the crap
he takes.
Because let's face it, you know what he is? He's really not that much different than Matthew Stafford with the Detroit Lions.
I was going to say Curry. I always think of him as Black Kirk Cousins.
I like that.
That's what I always think of him as. They're the same guy.
He's a likable dude.
Seems like his teammates like him, like Kirk's teammates like him. Good stats. Never wins in the postseason. Super
Yeah, but
wholesome.
Dak puts up, Stafford and Dak put up bigger stats than Cousins used to.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I think that Kirk and Dak are actually very, very similar.
Oh, they probably are.
Stafford had way bigger numbers. Stafford had like 5,000-yard seasons. Dak's never done that type of stuff.
I was thinking more of games like yesterday.
Oh, yeah, where they're really good.
And he had a really good game. I mean,
And then
I even
that
said at the
happens.
vet, he doesn't
was
go out of
awesome
bounds
yesterday.
I mean, he probably tears up his knee on the way to the end zone at the vet.
That's
but,
true. That's a good point.
I mean, Wendell Davis right there, I did drop that in there. Still one of the, what do you mean the knee went up into the hip? Yeah, that's vet turf. It was the worst. Concrete. And then they threw ice and batteries at you on the way to the locker room.
And it killed many a career.
Yeah.
Many career. All right.
All right, boys.
Well, we
have a
got a
good
lot to
grind.
go today.
Thank you, Jimmy.
A lot of
Yeah.
stuff to
Thanks,
react
Jimmy.
to. And
The show ends at night now.
Yeah.
yeah, it does. I'm really looking forward to that. Love driving home at night. It's great. I just hope there's not enough traffic out there to bother me.
I hope so, too.
Well, I'll worry about that later because we got a Grum to get to, and we'll do it next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
Hyannis? Thank God you had Terry Keneally, or we would not like you in Omaha. I'm telling you.
I feel like Nebraska City's one of us.
I mean, Hemingford? You should have just gone to Wyoming. Why did you insist on staying in Nebraska? Same with you people in Whitney. Just go to Wyoming.
Go consolidate your schools.
Yeah. You know what, Crawford? You're not good enough for Wyoming. Just go to South Dakota.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A cool start Monday morning, though, warming up nicely to start the week. We'll see partly sunny skies with a light northwest breeze, highs in the upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Husker fans, are you ready to score big savings on your tickets this season? When you need to find seats at Memorial Stadium, be sure to shop the best selection without the added fees at ticketsforless.com. That's right, Tickets for Less offers transparent pricing, meaning you never pay crazy high fees at checkout. Plus, save even more when you use promo code THEZONE at checkout today at ticketsforless.com. Every seat holds a story. Find yours at ticketsforless.com. Don't forget, Tickets for Less for the best concerts and events, and save now with the code THEZONE.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
When families visit Omaha to seek medical treatment for their sick kids, Ronald McDonald House not only provides a place to stay, but access to food and home-cooked meals. So Ronald McDonald House needs your help to support those families with Stuff the Pantry 2023. Visit the Baker's locations at Saddle Creek or Pepperwood on Saturday, November 18th and Sunday, November 19th from 10 to 4 to donate one or more of the items on the pantry wish list. Get details at rmhcomaha.org. We appreciate all your help during this holiday season.
KOZN. Unsportsmanlike conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO. Don't miss a moment, they'll give you your fix. They're on every day from 2 until 6. Spend your afternoons with John, Josh, and Nick. John, Josh, and Nick. They'll show you what sports talk really is.
Well, let's see.
No.
What?
No.
We're done?
Just no. Yeah,
Okay.
we're done.
That's fine.
Jimmy, get back in. We're going home.
It was that bad a weekend, huh?
On the field it was.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO.
You thought that was a bad call?
I don't like that rule.
Oh, that they gained like
That
40
you can-
yards?
I am starting to lean more towards the
College
It
rule?
should be college, but when you underthrow a guy, it shouldn't be pass interference.
Bro, what are you doing right here? Also, he wanted to throw it there.
He
and
did.
I cannot believe he didn't fumble.
Oh, I can't
The
either.
ball's in his like the
He's
replay
got
from
very strong
behind.
hands.
Oh my gosh.
He's got
He
very
must do
strong
that
hands.
workout thing.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like
Now,
this.
in all
The
honesty,
hand
this little
crunches.
play at the end, I didn't hate it because they're covering the end zone.
Yeah.
So throw the ball short of the end
And then
zone, get it
maybe
in
he
the
can
hands
make a
of
move.
Lamb. The problem is they didn't have a pitch man,
Yes.
a hook and
Ladder.
lateral guy. You know, that's probably the problem.
They called it a hook and ladder.
Ding Dong with the Waffle House menu on the sideline probably called a hook and ladder play. And the Cowboys were like,
"What's a ladder?
Where's the ladder?"
They were all like,
and they're all
mimes.
like looking around for the ladder.
Yep, and there was no ladder. There was
Do you think
no
this
ladder.
was a dirty tackle? So Dallas Goedert's going to miss some time.
You know, the angle from behind, I was kind of like, ooh. Not that angle. This angle when they showed it yesterday, I was like, ooh, that's kind of bad.
As
He
soon as
essentially
tackled
arm bars.
him. Yeah, because Goddard's
Also,
stiff arming him.
This is bad. Ouch.
Goddard is stiff arming him,
Yeah.
and Bell just kind of rides his arm down like a wrestler would do.
Yes.
And of course, you're not expecting that as a football player, and he fractures his arm.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad pointed it right
dirty
because
Cowboys.
the way he's holding it, in his arm, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I think he just fractured his arm."
Oh,
Sure
I
enough.
thought instantly as soon as
Yeah.
the tackle happened, I said, that's not gonna look
In
good.
the words of ET,
ouch.
At least your centers can snap a ball.
Sometimes. Yeah.
It happens.
I had somebody in my life, Nick, say, Nick has been a little cocky, maybe too cocky for his own good, so he kind of deserves this.
Yeah.
So just want that out there for you.
Okay, that's fine.
That was a tough day for the
They made it
Grumps.
a good game. I thought it was
fan.
done
I'm
at
learning.
halftime. I thought it was done at halftime.
Yeah, you know what I did?
So at least they made a game of it.
So here's what I did starting because of that. At halftime, I was like, all right, I need to watch the second half of the Nebraska game because I saw the first Saturday. I didn't see the second. I was like, I'm just going to watch it now. And I'll put the Chiefs-Dolphins game on the other TV. And I'm watching this, I'm watching the game. And it was great. I just essentially would have it timed where I could watch a Nebraska play and then watch a Nebraska play. And suddenly the Dolphins are making it interesting. They hold the Chiefs to 0 points in the second half.
And then you're like, I don't want to watch this crap fest anymore. I'd rather watch the Dolphins and the Chiefs.
That's what I started pausing the Nebraska game a whole lot more. And then the last drive happened.
Then the Dolphins did a really good job of holding the Chiefs on that last offensive drive of theirs. And then they did a
Crapped
bunch
the
of things
bed.
that didn't make any sense.
I think that our
Why would
teams-
you give it to him twice? He's not going to run forward. He went sideways both times.
They're like two sides of the same coin now to a degree where they're really good against a very specific level of competition. And then they are horrible. Now, at least Dallas didn't get embarrassed yesterday. I would say even though it was a one-score loss, I didn't think that the Dolphins played well at all.
Oh, no.
Again. Now, the Eagles and the Chiefs, like you can talk your way out of that. Dude, that Bills performance is aging horrifically. It's aging like milk right now.
Yes, it is.
That's been sitting on the counter for 2 weeks.
That's not good milk.
No, it is not,
No,
because
it's
the
not good
Bills also might not be good right now. It's a wild sport, this NFL. That's why we love it.
It is a wild sport.
It's been a good season.
Very wild sport.
It's been an interesting
No,
season.
it has not been a good season.
Well, it's been an interesting
It's been a
season.
horrible
Yeah,
season.
I guess for you it's been
a
bad.
horrible, terrible, no good season.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, folks, all that talk about head injuries.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to ban this sport. I thought
The
we were
whole
done with
sport?
it. I thought we were done with
Cancel
it.
football.
I think it was over.
Cancel culture has finally come for the NFL.
John Bishop's generation canceling things again.
You know that things aren't going well.
Yeah.
When it took the GOAT, Nick Saban, to save my weekend.
Good Lord, John. Good Lord. Oh, man.
You have done this to me. You've made me the Saban fan.
I made you an
because
Alabama fan.
Because of your crazy Sabanism.
This is just
late stage
contrarianism,
Sabanism.
John. This is just
No,
contrarianism.
I am appreciating Nick Saban more and more with every passing
in his
year.
later stages.
I am.
Because it really, I mean,
especially when you got cheats like Harbaugh out here who have to, break the rules to get where he,
hanging out with
yes,
Ric
Nick
Flair.
Saban, famously a non-cheater.
Where has he ever been accused of anything?
Well, accused, sure. But we know, come on, John. He was coaching the SEC in the Bagman era. We know what he was doing down
Okay,
there.
but we also acknowledge that everyone was also doing it.
Sure. I'm just one,
But I'm talking about,
this type of cheating.
Yeah.
I bet he's stolen more signs than a teenager to decorate the room.
Wow, Nick, that was interesting.
That was interesting.
But yeah, I mean, look, and I know that Clemson won this weekend, but seeing how far they have fallen, seeing how far Jimbo has fallen, seeing how far Mac Brown fell at the end of his Texas run, it does make you appreciate all the more.
Well, I'm Mac Brown.
What Nick Saban and Alabama have done, and a preview of Hot Take Market tomorrow. They're going to win it all. They're doing it. They're going to win the whole. I'm serious. Now you can talk me into it. I don't fully go there because I think that you can make Milroe. Like if he has to throw, I think that they will lose at some point in time.
Yeah.
But my goodness, he reminds me of playing an NCAA video game like 15 years ago where you have a mobile quarterback and you just drop back and you roll and all the defenders go downfield. And then he's just like, wee. He's really fast. Really fast.
Here's the Grum Down brought to you by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Oh, man, we have to talk about Nebraska. Crap.
Oh, yeah, people forget.
Yeah, we've done a good job so far in the crossover and on this first segment of not talking about them.
Well, they missed an opportunity on Saturday.
Yeah.
And sadly, there's a lot of evidence of offensive regression.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't seen this.
But we're going to say it. The West is still in play. Thank you to Illinois. Thank you to Indiana.
What the
It's
hell?
still in play.
Yeah, too
It's
bad
still in
Iowa
play.
didn't lose to Northwestern.
Someone who will appreciate the fact that the division is still in play and will remind everybody about it because he's tired of being reminded of the opposite. Jack Mitchell will join us.
He really does like looking at the positives after a Nebraska loss and not the negatives. He really does.
Well, I think he's leaning into the bit where everyone is critical. He's going to zag and be
Critical of the refs.
critical of the critics.
Yes, and the critics. The anti-peacockers.
The anti-peacockers.
Yeah,
Mitch Sherman will be along. Another interesting press conference today from Matt Rule.
Matt Rule.
As we mentioned, the Eagles. We didn't mention the Ravens yet.
Dude, the Ravens are good. The Ravens
That
are
is
really
a pick.
good.
That is a pick I would have liked to have had back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need to stop picking against the Ravens in big games.
We should not have
It was more a
disrespected
pick.
the
It was
Ravens.
more a pick thinking that Seattle would again find a way to stay close.
Yeah.
Which is what they do.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Also, the Ravens, we talked about this recently, but their schedule is setting up now spectacularly in terms of being at home so often over the next, however many months of football.
Shocking development in baseball today.
Yeah, what the hell? I want to talk about baseball.
What the
Craig
hell?
Counsell is moving within the division. The best part of this is that we screwed the Mets.
There you go.
I mean,
it was, and you were
not
probably
even so much the Brewers. In a way, I kind of feel bad for the Brewers that they're not going to keep the one guy who's been the constant around. I just feel a little bit bad for the Brewers because I don't like the Brewers either. But the Mets thought, oh, this is our guy. He's going to come here. And then the Cubs said, no soup for you, stupid New
nice
Yorkers.
reference.
No soup for you.
When were you in the car today? When were you driving here? Because did all of this happen while you were in your vehicle?
I got informed by a text from my sister the second I walked
Carla.
into this
Okay.
And she said, and it was a cryptic. It was like a, oh my God type tweet.
Okay, because
and I sent back a question mark because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then I got my computer open, and at the exact same time I saw it on Twitter, she texted back about Craig
Okay,
Counsell.
so
my
we'll-
sister broke the news.
When we discuss it, we will go back in time like 20 minutes before that because that was super weird to me.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that.
Okay, so we'll talk about that later then.
The volleyballers picking up big wins and set
Comeback win, baby.
Yeah. Oh, look, Nebraska just called for another fair catch.
Oh, you jerk.
And actually, this last one we're going to save for tomorrow about the argument of were they tough games to lose, or did Nebraska just get fortunate enough to win the previous three? Because today, the conversation will mostly circle around Heinrich Harbaugh.
Heine?
Because it's interesting, Matt Rule basically addressed some of the things we wanted to talk about today. And we'll get to all of that and more with you, 402-951-1620. 42 degrees, the Source Hotline. It's by your mom's house. At USC 1620 is where you can respond to us on Twitter. And the question, which I sent out in the form of Husker fan Bill's email today, where basically Bill said that Harbaugh would have developed more if he hadn't have been shelved by last year's OC. He says, look for Harbaugh to start the rest of this year and next year. You can respond to that or just wait for when we talk about it and respond then. Or you can send us an email into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. Yeah, it's the phone, the first one. John at 1620thezone.com or Josh at 1620thezone.com. No, we're not raising our hands today because none of our teams won.
Boo.
But only one of our teams was screwed by really, 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 really bad quarterback play.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh,
no, I thought you were going to say officials.
Oh, you stop.
Oh, so you acknowledge it when it happens to your team.
No, did you see a single tweet from me about the refs yesterday?
I saw a couple.
I didn't
From
see
me?
Any, I didn't see any tweets from you.
I don't tweet about the refs. No.
Oh, because Mr. Superior over here thinks, oh, you tweet about the Reds.
No, I just would rather my mentions not look like Jack Mitchell's.
I believe in criticizing refs.
I do too. They were bad.
Though,
but Dallas probably benefit from them
we
too.
spent maybe a minute on the officiating on Saturday.
Oh, wow. That's a stunner.
Well, part of it was the last play. Well, first off, the touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown should have also been pass interference.
Oh, wow.
On Nebraska, which would have put the ball at the 2-yard line. And also, I didn't really get a good look at the last play with the fumble versus incomplete pass. I did notice that Malachi was placed 2 yards short of where he caught the ball.
I couldn't believe that.
But again, this speaks to the issues with replay, of which Matt Rule will talk about as well. All coming up on 1620 The Zone.
This edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone is proudly presented by Union Bank and Trust. The program starts now.
Hi, this is Kathy Kenoyer. 'Tis the season at Glasshouse Market within Kenoyer Garden Center. We'd like to be a part of your family's holiday tradition. Whether you're looking for a gift for that special someone or a wreath for your front door, we'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market full of Christmas decor, novelty items, and fresh greens. Shop Glasshouse Market, located within Kenoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Kenoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Email Unsportsmanlike Conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Sky Rizzy, Risankizumab Rizin, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Sky Rizzy helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Sky Rizzy, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Sky Rizzy and visit skyrizzy.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
DJ's Dugout Sports Bar is proud to support Creighton Athletics, and DJ's is the official watch party sports bar of Creighton basketball. Nick Hanley here for my friends at DJ's. Watch Creighton basketball on DJ's huge TV walls at 7 metro locations. Plus, enjoy delicious food and a Blue Jay lemonade cocktail, of course. It's an Omaha tradition. Cheer for the Jays at DJ's. Voted Omaha's #1 sports bar, locally in Vietnam, veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
Hey, it's Happer for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and as the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 all if your team wins in bonus bets. So pick a big favorite if you have to. -200 on the money line. If they win, it's $150 in bonus bets. You've been thinking about joining FanDuel. There is no better time to get in on the action. There's not just the money line side. There's spreads. There's player props. Anytime touchdown scores. Love a same game parlay as well. All available to you at FanDuel.com/Happer. Kick off the NFL season the right way with FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
This is unsportsmanlike conduct.
It's a good thing. So people need to get on board and shut the hell up.
On 1620 The Zone.
Jack Mitchell will join us here in a little bit. I'm sure there'll be a lot of emotion.
From Jack?
Of course. But, I mean, the conversation is happening. If Nebraska needs to make a change at quarterback, the problem is,
who's it going to be?
Can they?
I'll do it.
Exactly. Who's it going to be? Jeff Sims doesn't appear to be the guy.
No.
For a variety of reasons. And
they're not going to Chubba.
And it's obviously not ready for Chubba. And I wonder how much of it has to do with the fact that they've concocted this hodgepodge offense and Harbaugh being the only one that's really repped it or could run it, that if you go to Chubba, you have to change the offense again. I mean, the plays are all in the playbook, but if he's not getting
Chubba
first team reps, in fact, do you have the Matt Rule audio up, Nick? I'll play this one because he was asked today by Sip, how are your reps going at quarterback in practice?
You know, we give Jeff reps with the ones at times, so he gets to rotate in. We're not like your traditional practice. We get more guys reps. So there were times last week, early in the week, that Chubba took some reps with the ones, here and there, not as much. He gets more 2 reps and then some 3 reps. But yeah, Jeff does get reps with the ones, as does obviously as does Heinrich.
I just think they're so married to how this is working, and it is to some degree working, albeit not perfectly, obviously, that making another switch would be too disruptive at this point. I'm starting to think that's the reason why they're not making a change.
Maybe. I don't know if that's the reason. I don't think that they trust. First of all, I don't think they trust Chubba. I don't think they. So
I'm sure there's part of that.
Okay.
Too.
And so then it comes down to Sims versus Harbaugh. And it just, for a variety of reasons, seems like it's not going to be Sims.
No.
I do not. So I don't think that it's about that. I don't think it's about that.
Which makes it very interesting. What would happen
If
Harbaugh got hurt to the point where he couldn't play.
Yeah, I think.
That's honestly that will tell you everything you need to know. And obviously, you don't want it to come down to that.
Yeah,
I suppose some of the more sadistic fans would,
sure,
who are just desperate for a change of any kind.
Yeah.
But anyone who's within reason doesn't want it to have to come to that.
Sure. Yeah, because that would, it'd be bad.
Because there's no question about it. And we'll have some numbers for you a little bit later. Heinrich Harbaugh and Jeff Sims are equally as turnover prone.
Of course, yes.
Right, we have to improve.
Yeah. Yeah, look at this stat.
You can't just hold the Jeff Sims is too turnover pro over Heinrich Harbaugh, because guess what? He's the same thing.
Yeah, the only difference I would say at this point is that the Harbaugh turnovers don't seem as wild and
the Sims turnovers were very dramatic.
They were dramatic. That's the word for it. Like his last play, Jeff Sims' last play. That whole drive was dramatic. It was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends with a fumble return for a score. And it's like, what the? You're just scratching your head saying, I don't understand how something like this could happen. And it was like that in the first 2 games of the season. Harbaugh's turnovers aren't that. They are.
There's been a couple, but most of them,
they're just bad turnovers.
Like the arm punt.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. Honestly, wasn't that third down, right? Was that third? Or was it second?
Well, the problem with that play is he had a wide open receiver.
I know. And I'm not trying to defend the turnover.
But it seems like every one of Jeff Sims' turnovers, and part of it too is the emphasis and the stress placed on turnover prevention from day one.
Yeah.
And so it just magnified every turnover. And so to a degree, that's a little unfair for Jeff Sims. Now, that said, those turnovers just happened to come at just awful times.
The second one he had against Minnesota was at the goal line.
Goal line.
Essentially, that cost him the game. The interception he throws on the last drive of the game, they lose the football there. The Colorado game turned when he started turning the ball over, not to mention the snap issue.
The strip fumble.
Yeah, exactly. Everything went sideways in those first 2 games with the turnovers. And then, the only time that at least I was worried at all a little about the Purdue game was, when he came onto the field and he fumbled it and immediately the ball went the other way.
Nebraska is likely going to have another quarterback lead the nation in fumbles.
I know, man. And this is
the nation.
Isn't this the worst? Michael had a tweet earlier, and I don't want to step on your segment later, but he had a tweet earlier, host of Severe Reaction Sunday mornings on 1620 The Zone, where let's see if I can find it. I can't pull it up.
Well, I'll tease ahead to what we'll have coming up.
Okay.
Heinrich, remember we had the chart before the season about the fumble leaders and turnover rate?
Yeah.
Heinrich Harbaugh is on pace to have the worst fumble rate of any quarterback who has had at least 100 carries.
Yeah.
He is on track for that.
And then you throw in, this is about turnovers, but the sacks, and he had 14 carries for 31 yards. Of course, in college football, sacks come out of the rushing game. So he's a long 43 and he only had 31 yards.
I ask you one quick question before we go to break and get to Jack.
Okay.
Because I said this quite often on Saturday, but you watching it differently than the rest of us did.
Yes.
Did Heinrich Harbaugh look a step slow?
Yes. Well,
or a step, or just a beat
timid.
More tentative.
Tentative. Yes, all of those things. He didn't at the beginning of the year when he played. I thought one of the positive traits that he had was that he kind of hit that hole and he attacked and he was fast. Now, I think some of this is that the defenses have obviously caught up, and now there's tons of film on him, and he's not that good of an option runner. But yes, he lost, I think, what was a good skill early in the year, and that was that kind of aggressive nature. And he looked very tentative on Saturday.
They just had an ad.
Oh,
I was looking for something.
What's this? What happened now?
Well, I was looking for a reason to watch the Chargers-Jets game. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be on with the Mannings.
The Mannings? Nice.
You know that, what's the quarterback's name at San Diego? The guy that I don't...
Justin Herbert.
Thank you. Justin Herbert. He needs a chopper.
The most mid quarterback in the league.
Yeah. Jack Mitchell's next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, We're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders. We're community travelers. You don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Follow your path in the Mazda CX-30 at Woodhouse Mazda. This crossover comes with an available Skyactiv G 2.5 turbo engine delivering up to 250 horsepower. Paired with the standard iActive all-wheel drive, the Mazda CX-30 offers dynamic performance that make every journey worth savoring. Shop Woodhouse Mazda during the Season of Inspiration event, starting MSRP $26,669. 2 convenient locations in Bellevue and West Omaha. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing.
Your Omaha Maverick men's and women's basketball teams open at home on Monday at Baxter Arena. The men tip off against Doane University, and the women take on the Illinois State Redbirds. Don't miss the action. Season tickets are still available for both the men's and women's basketball season. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your season ticket or single game tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long. And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here with Dr. Lance Kugler of Kugler Vision. You know, it's been 5.5 years since I had my procedure done at Kugler Vision. I remember going in for the eye analysis and finding out, hey, there's something other than LASIK. That seems to be such a misnomer with so many people, but that's not always the case because there are actually 7 forms of modern vision correction.
Sure, yeah, and obviously LASIK is a huge part of what we do, but as technology improves over the years, over the decades, we continue to add different technologies that become better options for people depending on what they need.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found absolutely incredible was the eye analysis process. You want to know as much about anyone's eyes as you can because that's how you figure out which of those procedures are going to qualify for.
Yeah, our eye analysis process is the most thorough evaluation of your eye that you can possibly have. We all have the same goal. We want you to see as well as you possibly can.
Schedule an eye analysis today. You can visit their website, kuglervision.com.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
You wearing ratty jackets from Stephen Barry's. Praying one day Big Red will win the NIT.
Ham is the water of meats.
Ham the water of meats.
Ham is the water of meats.
Don't worry about it, Josh. I
noticed. I was like, what in the world's going on?
Problem, but
for
then
Saturday?
I switched to, yeah.
All right.
Anyway, we're just having fun around
Hi,
here.
Jack.
Hello. How are you? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we're just lovely.
I'm good. I'm good. I still have, oh my gosh, I have still, and I am not starting this, but I still have people coming at me about Peacock this week. I'm done with it. I'm done with it, but people, the anti-Peacockers are so passionate about being anti-Peacock that they can't even let this go. They're the ones promulgating this now. It's crazy. But anyway.
On that note, we pause for this commercial message.
New on NBC, here's Boomer. He's a lovable mutt with a vagabond heart, but when you're in trouble, it's Boomer to the rescue. Then learn the facts of life. Mrs. Garrett's house mother to a group of girls who are going to teach her the facts of life.
Sure.
And with Blair, Tootie, Natalie, and Molly, she'd better watch out.
NBC proud as a peacock.
Okay,
Tom.
number one, where was Joe? Where was
that was okay? That was year one.
that was year
season
one when they had the huge group.
Yes,
Okay.
and Molly Ringwald was on the show,
and then
Molly Ringwald left, and that's when Joe came in.
Oh, I didn't know Molly Ringwald was on the show.
She was on. She was in the original cast of Facts of Life.
I was a little young during the original the original year, but I was Team Joe. I was Team Joe on the Facts of Life.
Team Blair.
Biden?
No.
Okay.
No, Team Blair.
Did you talk about those polling numbers on your show this morning, Jack? Oh boy.
Nope.
Seen these swing state numbers?
No, we talked about football and volleyball.
A text from Pedro, I think, is a great way to begin this conversation. It says, "Hi guys, I look forward to your Jack and Sipple interview." Sipple joins tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah.
Jack is like a tornado meets a volcano. You just never know what is going to come up. Sipple is straightforward and he thinks a lot before he says anything. One strong emotion, the other more thought out and matter of fact. I like both guys' personalities. Very enjoyable interviews.
Thank you.
There you go.
How do you like being the anti?
Nice. I mean,
Anti-Sipple.
I don't know. That's an interesting way to whatever the people like, I guess. Hey, I'm not going to complain if he likes it.
That's fair.
I just was watching TikTok.
Nice. Nice.
All right, so we prefaced this segment. We had a brief conversation. We'll have a lot more on the quarterback situation later. Are you of the opinion that something needs to change at quarterback?
I don't know if I can say something needs to change because I don't think it will. I don't believe that it will. But if you're asking me if I had my druthers, if I could see what it looked like with another quarterback, would I see that? Yeah, I probably would.
Who with?
Probably Sims. Because he has at least done it, right, for an extended period of time somewhere, the game and a half with Nebraska notwithstanding. And there was a point where they saw enough from him that they believed he could do it, right? They went
that period of time was about 7 months.
Kind of all in on him. So yeah, I guess that would be my first choice, although I wouldn't rule either of them out. No pun intended. If things got bad enough, and they're not far from that with the turnovers.
Yeah. What's changed with him, do you think? What's changed with
I don't
Harbaugh?
know.
Is it things catching up with him? Like John asked the question of, was he tentative? And it was funny because I was going to ask you that same question. Was he as tentative to you as he was to others?
He looks more uncomfortable in the pocket now than he did in his first game, which he's got, I suppose, better competition to some degree, but it's not like, the Michigan State defense isn't the Michigan defense.
No.
So I don't know, but there were times he looked visibly he looked, Josh, like, I don't know. I think he looks like he started thinking a ton. Like you can see him be like, maybe I should be running. No, maybe I should be passing. And he's not just kind of playing as much as it looked like that he did. And yeah, that's, I think, and it's especially in the pocket when he's in the pocket passing. He is not, and just to give you this is kind of a weird example, but I did notice this about Hudson Card when Nebraska played Hudson Card was he didn't have the greatest day in the world passing the ball, but man, I really noticed that guy was poised in the pocket at avoiding sacks. Nebraska didn't sack him a whole lot in that game, and it's because he was always kind of feeling the pressure and always stepping away from it. And I don't know, Harbaugh listen, as Matt Rule has said, the sacks and the pressure are a variety of people's fault, including the offensive line, including the running backs he talked about today. But Harbaugh does not look comfortable under pressure back there in the pocket right now.
No.
And I just kind of like to see him be more of don't you guys, I guess I'll turn it back around to you guys. He had a couple of decent runs, had a big run on a scramble that set them up at the end there to at least try the comeback. But I don't know, like the way that the way that they use him running or the way that it just doesn't seem like the kind of weapon that it was in the first few games.
Well,
for some
no,
reason.
it doesn't. They didn't run very many sprint options at all on Saturday. And so I wonder, and I wasn't necessarily against that. In fact, one of my keys was I thought they needed to get the running back game going in the first half. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe that's what they're trying to do. Teams are going to get wise to it. And keep in mind, they're still They're still in. I mean, I've equated it to option football 101. Heck, you might be able to say they're in option football preschool because this was not part of the plan before August.
No,
this was not part of the plan. And now, they're being thrust into this. And, the reason why teams back in the day could just run the option, and even if teams were prepared for it, was because guys like Tommy Frazier and Turner Gill and Steve Taylor, they were drilled in it. They came here,
and the coaches
knowing
were
what
too.
to do, and the coaches were, and the team was, and they were graduate level option football. This isn't that, and so the magic of, oh my God, we have to prepare for an option team. Yes, it was there early on, but now for a lot of teams, it's, hey, they're not going to pitch it that much. He's not going to press the defensive end very much to, make a decision. And so it's easier to defend. And so now you're having to counter that. And so that part of the game's being taken away. And I think all of those other things together, plus what you mentioned, looking a little tentative, being a little shakier, maybe over processing a little bit. It's understandable why some of these things are happening.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I'm with you for the record, John. I didn't want to see. I would have preferred they went away from the option, which they kind of did for the most part. It's not like I was saying that was the problem, was that they weren't running that enough, because you could see Purdue was ready for that in a lot of cases. And that you're also right that it just the spacing never quite felt right. Like you said, the sort of all of the things that make the option work like it does, where you're sort of bringing the defense in to go to one guy, and then at the last minute, it just the like you said, it just hadn't been perfected enough to have it be
drill
super
that during the
effective.
season.
Yeah,
that's something that has to be with you when you get here.
And
none of Nebraska's great option quarterbacks had to learn it when they got here. They were already doing it.
Yeah.
They just became masters at it because they had the best people teaching them here.
Like, I think he's probably, when Rule said something to the effect of, right, he's kind of half sliding and half standing up and not making the decision on that. I think he's probably, I wouldn't be crazy if at some point those sorts of thoughts go to your head. The thought of not wanting turnover avoidance goes to your head, right? And all of those things, you start thinking about those in ways that you didn't when you started against Northern Illinois and weren't trying to avoid turning the ball over necessarily, right? It wasn't in the forefront of your head. Playing and scoring was in the forefront of your head. And that's what it looks like. I don't know for sure if that is the case. And I also agree there's plenty of other problems too. There's plenty of other problems too. But again, I would certainly be interested to see. It's just the turnovers are such an issue. And that's the big part of it. It's the turnovers that I would just be interested to see what it looks like with somebody else.
Jack, kind of along the lines of what you just said a moment ago, like how much of the criticism / blame should fall on Harbaugh right now, and how much of it should fall elsewhere? Even though I know that they've been winning games until 2 days ago, but
yeah, I guess it's hard for it not to fall on Harbaugh because you sort of have this unknown behind him in ways that you don't really have that at other positions. Like they're weirdly enough, like the quarterback depth is as much as it's been a problem, you at least have two guys who have played before behind them. They don't really have that at running back or wide receiver or offensive line, which is just crazy to say that now. There's like more experience and depth at that position. And so I think that's part of the reason why you go to that thought right away. But it's about blocking other than Harbaugh. I mean, it's Harbaugh and blocking is what it is, right? So whether that's the offensive line or the running back on those pass plays, those are the issues too, because you got defensive linemen who are in there, and Michigan State did it again, who are making it incredibly difficult for him. So yeah, there's definitely other blame to go around. There's other people who have been responsible for turnovers as well. And it's not all him, but you don't have many opportunities on this offense to mess around with personnel. There's no bench at any position anymore.
No, there's really not. And I think this is something we'll tackle tomorrow, but it was brought up recently that Nebraska wasn't all that much different Saturday than what they were the 3 weeks prior. And yet they lost this one. They won the other 3. And there's a part of me, you can watch that game, and I know, and we'll have some numbers here in a little bit, that, the defense wasn't as good, but maybe part of this too is we're not giving Michigan State enough credit. Too many people looked at the 2-6 and also looked at the fact of all the strife and all of the crap they've gone through this year and thought that the team was lost, but that Michigan State may have actually been better equipped to give or take advantage of what Nebraska was going to give them in ways that Illinois, Northwestern, and Purdue were not. Could I make that argument?
No. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, man, Michigan, I was more confident going into this game than I was going into the Purdue game after I took a deep dive looking at Michigan State and their numbers. I looked at their numbers and I'm like,
their numbers were better than Northwestern's. They were about the same as Illinois and Purdue.
No,
I thought they were a little worse than Purdue.
Purdue had more going on offense. Than they did. I mean, we broke down all of these every week. I looked at the statistical rankings, and it sounds like Josh did too. And I was just like, man. And then knowing that they were kind of messing around with the quarterback spot.
Right.
And we're going to have a backup in, and they had their second leading receiver and their fourth leading receiver were out in this game as well. And of course, Nebraska has injuries too, but Purdue, those were newer ones, Michigan State, those were newer ones as well. I think the difference, John, was the defense gave up a couple of big plays, right? The turnovers were there like they always are. And then I don't think you can minimize what happened in the punt game on both sides.
Oh my gosh, thank you. We have not mentioned Buschini until this moment on the show today.
Well, it was both ends of the punt game.
It was it was both sides. They lost both sides of the punt game consistently, and I don't think that happened in those other games. I
have the Buschini numbers written down somewhere.
Well,
here it is: 28.2 net yards per punt, and Michigan State it was 47.7. That's 20 yards of field position.
The other part of it too is the average starting field position. Was 8 yards better for Michigan State, which on the surface doesn't sound like that much, but if you take that 8-yard average and multiply it by 13 drives, which is what each team had, makes a huge difference.
It's almost 100 yards.
Makes a huge difference.
I think I think the defense, listen, I look at the previous games for the defense where they were throwing something akin to a no-hitter. This game was more like a 4-hitter giving up a couple of solo home runs in this game. Okay?
Yeah, still good, but
not great.
Still good, still a very good outing, but it wasn't a no-hitter this time around. And so that was the number one difference in this game. And then number two was just you just didn't get any kind of a win or a field position, advantage with the punt game in either direction. And I think that was
your
worth
best
points.
Punt was done by your quarterback.
I mean, given that you've got a field goal kicker who can make a 55-yarder, imagine adding on even, those
just a few yards.
8 yards or getting a touchback instead of taking it at the 5, right? That's going to be significant in these games. They can't afford to do that. So you've got to correct one of those things for the rest of and then also, honestly, number 4, and maybe I'll get killed for this, but it also doesn't help to get absolutely not the benefit of the doubt on a whole schmear of key calls by the officials in that game too. And I think that, that obviously didn't help either. So you add all of those in and it was a recipe for exactly what happened. So they've got to fix probably multiple of those things and change them if they want to win any of the next 3 games, right? You've either got to get the perfect game from the defense. You've got to have a punt. You've got to be able to win the punting battle, basically. Win the punting battle on both sides. Be the better net punting team on both sides. Or you've got to get the offense just not turning the ball over.
Yeah, and that seems to be the hardest, right?
You can't lose on all 3. You can't lose on all 3 of those.
Right. Check, there's a part of me, because on Fridays we do 5 keys, that I just want to write, don't turn the ball over. Like that's, they had 3, and Rule said it on, you say it on Saturday or you say it today or both. We had 3 turnovers and we lost by 3 points. And it's like, man, when you're giving the other team the ball that many times, it had not cost them. And we kept saying they can't keep getting away with it. They can't. And they kept proving us wrong. They proved us wrong against Illinois. They proved us wrong against Northwestern. They proved us wrong against Purdue. it wasn't feasible to keep doing that.
The difference was they got back a couple of turnovers against each of those teams. And so
they
while they
did.
did lose
That
the
was the
turnover
perfect game.
margin,
Yep.
while they did lose the turnover margin, it was only by 1.
Yeah, I found
this
a stat
one they lost by 3.
Even though they only played 3 games in October, I found a stat last week that they were tied for the 25th most takeaways for the whole month of October, even though they only played 3 versus 4. But yeah, so when you get a donut in that category on Saturday, you never get. And the defense, they were.
You didn't.
I love the way you described it. They were just a little bit worse than they had been. They looked a little bit more on their heels. They looked a little bit less aggressive. Yeah. And it just didn't look like the defense. And maybe it's a home versus road thing. Like maybe we're going to see them, though they played well against Illinois, but I wonder if we're going to see them maybe with a bit more fire and flying around again on Saturday. But something looked a little off about them that we had not seen, really, I'd say, since the Michigan game.
I mean, if they go back and pitch another perfect game, which means shutting teams out of touchdowns and getting multiple turnovers, they still can. I mean, they can still win with the offense doing what it's doing. I think in any of the games, but I don't know if they'll, it's hard to tell what happened and why that happened again. If you listen to Matt Rule, he basically said you just had guys making mistakes in judgment that they hadn't, just execution mistakes that, he said they had been making against Purdue, but they just hadn't gotten punished for it in that game. And so that's what he'll say. So that's a huge key.
Would you like a fun stat to end on?
Oh, I'm sure this will be very fun.
This has nothing to do with Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Iowa is the first power conference team to be held to less than 250 yards of offense in at least 6 of the first 9 games of the season.
Nice.
Since Rutgers did it in 2002, but that Rutgers team went 1-8.
Oh my God.
Go Hawks.
They were up on the Miami Hurricanes in one game that year, I remember. Jack, thoughts?
Yeah, and that was against the last game. You were just talking about Northwestern statistical ranks. That's who that last game was against, right?
Yeah.
What's that total going to be? What is that Iowa-Nebraska total going to be? Because this one this week finally crept even lower.
7.5.
28.5?
Yeah. 7.5. Key point.
It could be. It could be. I will have a stat tomorrow that will trigger Josh when it comes to Iowa.
What is the lowest alternate line you would consider right now in Nebraska?
Well, we set it at 29.
Yeah, we said it. We did the Cubs.
We did the Cubs one from
and we all took the under, right?
Yeah, and we all hit it.
Oh, that was
easily.
easy.
Oh, yeah.
Easy money.
Like,
Jack, it would have to get to 16.5, I think, for me to really consider the over. I'm serious.
I know. I don't disagree. It's just so freaking funny.
That said, you know what? With Nebraska's proclivity to turn the ball over, are we underestimating the total?
That's the thing.
They have to be on their P's and Q's in that game.
And oh, by the way, Iowa does do special teams very well.
They got to be so buttoned up in that game. They're going to have to play perfect.
But again,
you know what could happen? They could lose a Colorado 1988 special 7-0, and the 7 points comes from DeJean.
Oh, 100%.
True.
100%.
True.
Or it comes from a field goal and 2 safeties.
Their offense is probably worse than Nebraska's, believe it or not, although maybe not as turnover prone. And
Definitely
they haven't faced a defense for a while that's as good as Nebraska's is. And so what that adds up to is, it's defense, the defense and special teams, right? Crazy. Although, I mean, honestly, this goes back, and I know you guys got to go here, but like at some point, I was glad to see Nebraska take some deep shots, especially, that ball was intercepted and there was a guy open, but like he caught that and on the interception, I was like, fine, right? Like that at some point is going to work, I think. And especially if you're doing it on third down, geez, just take some shots if you can get him.
I'm fine with aggressiveness on third down going deep.
I'm fine with aggressiveness, but Harburg's a terrible thrower.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's.
I guess if you want to expect, a gift like the Cowboys got yesterday, where you intentionally underthrow a ball and get a pass interference.
Yeah, but he's made those throws too. He made those throws a couple. It's not impossible. He made the one to Coleman against Northwestern, and he made the one to Washington against Michigan. That was a deep throw. He's made some of those. Or not. Obviously, yeah, it's inconsistent, but it's a throw that he can make too.
I guess. It's just painful. I thought I'd never see another Nebraska quarterback be as painful to watch throwing the football than Scott Frost.
Whoa, geez, Scott Frost catching strays?
Well,
it's painful right now.
Well, his shot put throwing delivery.
Painful. This is painful.
It was painful to watch.
Mm.
This is more painful.
Well, it's going to be a ride, guys. 3
It
3 weeks where
Buckle up.
does feel like really, well, I think still anything can happen, but man,
I agree. Anything can happen.
Jeez.
Anything can happen.
And I have no idea what Maryland is. Man, talk about a team that has been completely, it's impossible to know what they are. I have no idea.
They're 5-0 playing Ohio State well. And
Yep.
now they've lost
And now
4
it's
games
circled the
straight.
drain.
And they're losing to some bad I mean, yesterday or Saturday wasn't a bad
No, it
team, but
wasn't
they're
a bad
losing to
team.
bad teams too.
That's the Northwestern.
But this is
Oh.
also the best quarterback next to J.J. McCarthy Nebraska will see all year.
Yes, that's true.
Easily.
That's true.
So, and probably a better pro prospect than J.J. McCarthy because McCarthy won't, McCarthy's not going to have the ability to have the plays,
sign stealing.
plays in front of him there.
They do it in the headset in the NFL. Yep.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yep.
Oh boy.
All right. Well,
Buckle in.
We will.
Bye, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget the game is on Peacock on Saturday.
Still haven't decided if I'm going to get it or if I'm just going to go to the game to avoid
Just
getting it.
borrow it from somebody. You know so many people with Peacock, Jack. Just ask for a login.
I do? Okay. All right. Josh, are you giving me your login? Is that how that works? I don't even know.
I'm happy to. It's not a big deal.
I'll give you my login if you want.
There you go. You get him Nick Grimm's login.
I'm going to attempt to not get spoiled because I won't be able to see
That's right.
the
You're
game.
watching. You're not going to try to get spoiled.
I'm going to attempt. I'm going to see if I can do
Well,
it.
you don't
Oh
be
my
the
gosh, it's
Half
impossible.
the stands
That's-
there are going to be Husker fans.
No, they're not.
God, that is
Yeah, we're there
impossible
to
in
watch a winning
2023.
team. They're
That's
there to
done.
watch a winning team.
Hey, Nebraska's over 500.
It's not setting your VCR and not talking to anyone like you used to in the 90s anymore. You can't
I
do
was,
that.
I was able to do it in what was the year the Giants and the 49ers played in the NFC Championship?
2011, 2012. that one?
I was able to do it then.
That's over a decade ago, though.
I was still able to do it.
Funny story. When I was in college, my buddy and I, my roommate and I had a night class on Monday nights. And so every night we would tape Monday Night Football and then we would try not to find out about it. This is in like 1998 and go back to our dorm. And all of our idiot friends would try and spoil it for us. So we had to run like a covert operation to get into our dorm without anyone telling us and watch on VHS the entire Monday Night Football game.
Cardinals Washington game.
Right.
I don't want to be spoiled.
Exactly. Well, don't tell me what Heath Schuler did. I want to find out.
Oh my gosh.
It's more of a challenge to myself just to see if I can do it.
Hey, that's fun. Oh, we all like challenges.
I'll be curious.
We all like challenges.
Yeah, I've thought about trying that a couple of times in the last 5 years, and it's never.
Just hard because people do talk about it. As you could be walking out of the tunnel after the game, and someone would be like, "Can you believe Harbaugh threw 5 picks today?"
Right. I would have to cancel so many
That doesn't necessarily tell me who won or lost.
That's true.
The amount of notifications I'd have to turn off on my phone to be able to do that.
Well, the good news is I don't look at my notifications generally while I'm doing a broadcast. I mean, so all I have to do is just shut off the Twitter, and
there you go.
And my phone's already quiet. So
yeah, your wife wouldn't text you about it like, "Oh my gosh, the game is
So
crazy."
your ringtone doesn't randomly go off like it does sometime during the Grum?
That's because we start the show earlier than it's normally scheduled for.
Then
That's why.
reschedule it, you goof.
I did.
You goof. Wow.
Dang, Nick coming in hot.
Whew.
How about the Dolphins yesterday?
They sucked, John.
Yep, they sucked. They're gonna be nice fodder for some team in the first round of the AFC playoffs. Because they'll have to
John,
play a winning team.
I found a stat today. The
Right.
greatest show on turf didn't beat a winning team either.
What?
Yeah, they did. They beat the Tennessee Titans in the Super Bowl.
Well, before the Super Bowl.
And then they beat. Let's see. We beat Tampa. They had a winning record, and Minnesota had a
Did they
winning
also
record.
beat the Packers or the Eagles that year too? Who'd they beat in the playoffs?
That's true.
The Vikings.
But we had a last place schedule because
so
we
it's
were
Nick-
a really bad team.
Nick saying
regular
the
season.
regular
The regular season.
Well, that's because we had a really San Francisco had a winning record that year.
No, didn't they stink? Didn't the 49ers stink?
Well, it doesn't matter. We got the trophy.
They did lift up Lombardi's trophy.
Kenya.
I'm just saying the
49ers
Dolphins
were 4-12.
Oh, were they?
Because that was the year that Steve Young.
Oh, that's
got
right. The
rocked.
Cardinals killed him, and
They
Jack
got
didn't
Aeneas.
know about it until later.
Oh, Jack, what was it like
because-
watching Aeneas Williams murder Steve Young on VCR?
Somebody probably told me while I was coming up the stairs trying to sneak into my dorm room, and so we gave up.
Jack was walking upstairs, and some Frisco fan was lowering his flag to half staff,
and he was like,
Jack was like,
Steve Young spoilers. Steve Young got hurt. I can tell by the way he's doing that.
Oh.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, Jack.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jack.
There he is, Jack Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen. All right, when we come back, we do have some of those numbers. We'll get to those. We'll hear a little bit from Matt Rule. We got Mitch Sherman coming up, so stay right there. We ain't going nowhere, so you don't either. 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show.
I have an announcement. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan.
Why is that?
Well, I'm lying low, right? They're 0-6. They're the number one worst team in the NFL, according to Josh Hodson. They have a young, talented quarterback who needs some help, but it's not just that. I've always liked their colors and their jerseys, and my favorite NFL player of all time is Steve Smith. I love Steve Smith. I like the Panthers. Go Panthers!
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A cool start Monday morning, though, warming up nicely to start the week. We'll see partly sunny skies with a light northwest breeze, highs in the upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Good boy. At Cox, we think all customers deserve a reliable connection. So whether you're a loyal customer who's been with us for years, or you're new to the family like this little guy, you'll get the same great deals on the same great internet. And no matter who you are. See how you can save at cox.com/deals for all. Other restrictions apply, all rights reserved.
Do you hear what we hear? Omaha Steaks has tons of jobs and hours. Right now, we're hiring for a variety of seasonal positions in our warehouses. Make this holiday extra jolly with a great employee discount on gourmet foods you can use all year long. To view available job openings and to apply online, go to omahasteaks.com/jobs or text steaks to 22633 to apply today. 'Tis the season to make some holiday cash at Omaha Steaks.
Have you been to our brand new 42 Degrees store at 85th and Andermatt Drive in Lincoln? Just like in Omaha, our beautiful Lincoln store has the highest quality health and wellness products around. Kratom, Delta, CBD, disposables, e-juice, and more. 42 Degrees is the source for premium products with a friendly, knowledgeable, and professional staff. Learn more at 42degrees.com. The new Lincoln store at 85th and Andermatt Drive. By your mom's house. Restrictions apply. Products may contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Life doesn't stop when cancer starts. After a diagnosis, treatment is vital. But for some, just getting there, to appointments, chemo, or radiation, is a major challenge. You can change that. Volunteer to give rides with the American Cancer Society Road to Recovery program. A few hours of your day could make a life-saving difference for someone with cancer. Visit cancer.org/drive to learn more. That's cancer.org/drive.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
You're listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Go Big Red, baby.
On 1620 The Zone.
All right, what kind of crap do you got for us today, John? How sad do you want to be, folks? 402-951-1620.
Stop. You know,
let's be sad
we
together.
do this for the wins. We do it for the losses.
Here we go.
That's how it works. Nebraska went -3 in turnovers.
Curses.
Negative
boys. The negative
Matching
boys.
the Minnesota and Colorado games.
Yeah.
Nebraska is now 33-66 since 2008. So the next time they do it, it'll be a milestone. It'll be game number 100 since 2008 with a negative turnover.
Wow.
But here's the thing. Okay, so since 2008, they're batting .333, which would be good in baseball.
Batting?
When they lose the turnover battle. But since 2017, They're just a 171 win percentage, 7-34.
Well, yeah.
So it's gotten worse.
Well, which makes sense
since
because
2017.
the team has gotten worse.
Yes,
the
that's
team has
true.
gotten a lot worse, and so it's a lot harder to overcome going -3 in the turnover margin.
When losing the turnover battle by 2 or more, they're only 8-33. Wow. Now, I know a lot, and I didn't want to get into it with Jack because I feared he'd get real fired up.
Yeah, he only brought it up once.
But the touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown also should have been pass interference, so they would have had the ball on the 2-yard line, but they missed that call. And the face mask, I think it wasn't it the next play or a couple plays later is the scramble, and then Nebraska ended up scoring a touchdown anyway. So even though it was a missed call, and it's a terrible miss, I'm not excusing the officials. Nebraska overcame that one.
Yes.
And Michigan State should have had the ball on the 2-yard line on the pass interference. Now, the stuff that happened at the end of the game,
or the Malachi Coleman one,
and the might as well get on the soapbox. I'm going to get onto it. Before I mention the number,
get on a soapbox.
This is where college football replay and this idea of automatic reviews, this is where the system fails. The reason why that thing didn't get reviewed is because I don't think replay wants to jump in a live ball situation when the clock is running and create an artificial timeout.
Correct. That's 100%. That's exactly why they didn't do anything in that moment.
Which is why my idea of only challenges by the teams would work. Because then if Matt Rule had a challenge available to him, he could have challenged that right away. And then it's on them, and it's not on the guy in Pittsburgh to push the magic buzzer button and say, I'd like to look at this play.
Now,
please.
hey, real quick, I don't know if we've ever discussed this. Do you wish that the last 2 minutes in the NFL were not? Do you wish that the coaches could challenge stuff? Or do you that it's
personally I would make everything a challenge,
no matter the time or place? Okay, that's fine.
I'll challenge all the time.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I just
because can you trust the replay official in a situation like what happened on Saturday to jump in right away and say, nope, we need to look at this?
And then if it benefits Nebraska, Michigan State's heated. Now there are rules where if something like that happens, they can do automatic 10-second runoffs. Et cetera, et cetera.
So actually, that
would have benefited Nebraska. Both things that they should have reviewed in the final minute, or both things that they got wrong. Let's say that there was a first down, first of all, on the first play, and a lot of time ticked off the clock, and then the incomplete pass that they called a fumble. That hurt them too.
I need to look up something because Nebraska may still not have benefited from that, but we'll find out. Stand by on that. So Nebraska did not have a penalty.
Yes.
So despite the officiating being bad, Nebraska didn't have a penalty. First time since 2005 they played an entire game without a penalty. And
that's crazy.
And this is the only, and someone else looked this up, so I don't know if it's totally verified, but I did get a tweet that the last known penalty-free game that resulted in a loss was 1976 versus Oklahoma.
Holy God! John, you were 5 years old.
Game that also ended 20-17.
That was America's birthday.
It was 200
birth year.
Well, it was November.
No, it wasn't even the birth year, Nick. It was the 200th celebration of the birth year.
Yes.
There we go.
That's what
we got there. Eventually.
We got there.
We
figured
figured
what
it
I
out.
meant.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
And then I'll skip ahead to the last one because there's other things.
Yeah.
It was the worst the defense has done this year in yards per pass attempt.
Yeah.
And it's the most that Nebraska has given up yards per pass attempt since the Ohio State game in the COVID year.
Wow, that's wild. And that
so there's one avenue where the defense definitely played worse.
Yep.
Because this was a more effective day than even Shedeur Sanders had in yards per pass attempt.
It goes back to what we talked about with Jack. The defense just a little bit off,
Yeah.
A little bit off.
This is also interesting.
See, I think that this is where a lot of the issues lie with this team is that, and we have been on this for weeks now. The rushing offense is not good.
No,
it's not good. I had been saying it's not as good as it once was. I'm happy to say not happy. I am ready to say it's not a good rushing offense.
Right.
And I think that the numbers recently 100% back that up. 100%. Man, the Michigan number, that is such a lie, too, because one of those carries at the end of the game by Joshua Fleeks jacks up the yards per carry.
No,
that game.
you're exactly
totally
right.
jacks it up.
You're exactly
so that's
right.
even a
so
misleading.
really, you could look at the last 5 games and
last
say
5 games.
Nebraska has not run the ball well.
Since they hopped back into conference play, they have been a bad rushing team. Full stop.
First 5 games, Nebraska averaged 5.5 yards a carry. It's down to 3.5 yards a carry over the last 4.
It's not very good.
And in yards per play, it's dropped 1.5 yards. First 5 games, Nebraska was averaging 5.8 yards a play. Last 4 games, they're averaging 4.3 yards per play.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's affecting everything.
Yeah.
And I think some of this is teams are getting wiser to the option.
Whole 100%.
Michigan State's plan was simple. Make 10 beat us with his arm. And the only times that he beat them with his legs were on busted plays.
Mm-hmm.
Both the scrambles. Other than that, not a whole lot.
Dave, our friend Dave Fight, says a cruel
Hello,
twist
Dave.
in the knife regarding the replay of the fumble on the second to last play. So he pointed out that Benhart recovered the fumble with 13 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good for him.
Final play was your favorite player. Final play was then snapped with 2 seconds left, and thus, the game is going to end. Dave writes, the cruel irony is if the clock runs out, replay would have had more time to make the correct call. By my estimation, Nebraska would have had 2nd and 10 from their 46 with about 18 seconds left. So if the game actually goes down to 0 seconds, then they could have reviewed the last play of the game, and they would have found out that it was actually a pass.
Well, they could have, but would they have?
I guess that's a good question, too. You never know.
Here's my other question. Because in the NFL, this is what I was going to look up during the break. In the NFL, in live ball situations like this, you lose. It's a 10-second runoff unless you use a timeout. Nebraska didn't have a timeout. So if they stop the game.
But it's an incomplete pass, so it wouldn't have cost them anything.
Yeah, but I believe the 10-second runoff still exists, doesn't it?
Not for an incomplete, because they got the call wrong, and so it would have been no 10-second runoff.
Right. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
But again, this is where automatic review.
10-second runoff, John, if they would have found out, let's say they stop it in that moment, 18 seconds left. 10-second runoff would have come into play is if it was actually a fumble, and they would have said, we shouldn't have reviewed this.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
So, I think just leaving everything arbitrarily up to some guy in Pittsburgh to hit the little magic buzzer, to me, is just a flawed system.
Yeah.
Now, of course, under my system, Nebraska wouldn't have had a challenge anyway because they were out of timeouts.
Yeah, exactly.
But
give and take. When we come back, by the way, there is some news regarding the Wolverines of Michigan.
Who are they blaming now? They're gonna retroactive and blaming Woody Hayes too.
By the way, wait for content later today because there's some real fun stuff in there about the Michigan Wolverines.
They're suing Ray-Ban because of the glasses.
I'm starting to wonder if a certain ex-president isn't running Michigan's PR movement right now.
Soon to be president,
where it's all like deflection, blame somebody else, whataboutism, all this stuff. Just admit to it, Michigan. You're dirty, rotten cheaters who just keep winning. Now that you can't cheat anymore, that we know of. On 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everyone. Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Speaking of winning, John, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Right now, new customers, if you go to FanDuel.com/1620, you can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. And John, there were a couple of games that we talked about last week for yesterday's games. And we were like, hey, what if you took the Saints? Winner, chicken dinner. Hey, what if you took the Browns? Winner, chicken dinner. Well, if you're looking ahead to this next weekend in NFL action, you're wanting a nice, big, juicy favorite. I'm looking.
Dallas.
Oh, the Dallas Cowboys -16.5 versus the New York Giants. Now, wouldn't it be so Cowboys to lose this game and absolutely torpedo my entire weekend? It would be, but they won't do it. I'm not going to guarantee it, but by golly, they're not going to do it.
I'll guarantee it. Take Dallas. No! Take Dallas. Bet the $5. Get the $150. Do it. Okay. They ain't gonna. With Daniel Jones, they beat him 40-2,
40-0.
Without Daniel Jones, they'll beat him 48-2.
0.
Because Dak will just arbitrarily throw one backwards into the end zone. But seriously, go to FanDuel.com/1620. Get this NFL season going. You're at the halfway point. You can still have fun with this. Just bet $5. You win that money line bet, and you'll get $150 in free bets. FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued with non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's four-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel. They make your driveway ever level. Level up.
So Isabella, you're in high school earning college credits?
Tuition-free college credits.
Tuition-free? Your mom's got a...
Love that.
Hey, Maya, hold up. You'll graduate from high school.
But my college gen ed's knocked out. Tuition-free.
That's got to save you and your parents thousands in college tuition. How about you, Ian?
I'll be debt-free thanks to MCC.
Earn college credits while still in high school. Tuition-free. Get started at mccneb.edu/tuition-free. Classes start December 2nd.
This is me at MCC.
Your Omaha Maverick men's and women's basketball teams open at home on Monday at Baxter Arena. The men tip off against Doane University, and the women take on the Illinois State Redbirds. Don't miss the action. Season tickets are still available for both the men's and women's basketball season. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your season ticket or single game tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tickets.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
All right, so what happened to Michigan?
So Brett McMurphy, friend of the Grum.
Hi, Brett.
Should this be a sports flash?
Nah, it's okay, Nick. We already started the segment.
I'm sorry.
Brett writes, Michigan has received notice from the Big Ten indicating specific sign-stealing allegations, but it does not indicate what penalties would be administered, UM sources said. UM has until Wednesday to respond to the Big Ten, source said. The Big Ten's pursuit of penalties against Michigan and or Jim Harbaugh is viewed as a PR stunt in response to public pressure and in light of the conference's lack of action up to this point, sources said. UM will legally fight any disciplinary actions, which potentially would block any suspensions from occurring this season, sources said. That's a lot of sources and a lot of stuff being said. So there you go. That's the latest with the Wolverines. I saw another tweet. I'm see if I can find it real quick. But it sounds like the news will come down at some point this week. Yes, here it was. Nicole Auerbach. Officials expect resolution by the middle of the week as Tony Petitti mulls action. Sources say Michigan could take legal action if the Big Ten attempts to suspend Jim Harbaugh indefinitely before the conclusion of the NCAA investigation. So that's where we are at.
In the conference bylaws, it says, in the event it becomes clear that an institution is likely to be subjected to disciplinary action, the commissioner shall notify that institution or individual at the earliest reasonable opportunity. Under no circumstances shall the commissioner comment publicly regarding either an investigation or disciplinary action without having first provided notice to any involved institution or individual. So Michigan will find out first, but you know how these things leak.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So Michigan will probably sue the conference, similar to how the Nebraska players' parents sued the conference. The conference eventually had to back down from their COVID stance. Well, because the rest of the country said, "Ha, Big Ten, we're not following your lead." And we all know the Big Ten was wrong. Interesting. And the funny thing about this is it's likely, I think, that the punishment would involve something to do with Jim Harbaugh.
It seems that
right?
that's going to be the case.
So the fight that they could be giving here is on behalf of Jim Harbaugh. And then at the end of the season, Harbaugh is going to say, oh, the Raiders are calling. Oh, the Bears are calling.
Now, what I think is going to be interesting in whatever is next, and by next I mean after the season, is if that has changed at all. Has that changed at all? Will franchises in the NFL look at him a little bit differently? Because it was one thing, John, when this story first broke, almost 3 weeks ago now, 2.5 weeks ago. It was one thing when the story first broke, and a lot of the reaction, mine included, was, well, that's what everybody does. Not a big deal. Move on. And every piece of information that comes out in every, part of the onion that is peeled, and you go deeper and deeper, it has become a worse look for the program. Mm-hmm. Of course, I would say so far peaking with the Central Michigan stuff. That's not a good look. It's not a good look for the program, and it's not a good look for Harbaugh. And so I do wonder if him being an NFL guy in 2024, is it as likely today on November 6th as it was on, let's say, October 6th or even October 20th or whatever, right before all this stuff broke? Because if it's not, there's a part of me that thinks, maybe he will actually have to serve the suspension. It will just come next year. Yeah. And then I guess in theory it would taint whatever the program does for the rest of this season.
Ward Manuel, who was going to, he's on the committee.
Yes, he is. And he's not going.
He is not going. So he put out a statement, said, I want to provide an update. I will not be traveling to our weekly meeting in Dallas, but will instead stay in Ann Arbor, attending to important matters regarding the ongoing investigation into our football program. So obviously something's coming down. Yeah. He needs to be on campus to do it. And of course, tomorrow is the day they announce the next set of rankings. So this might indicate that this Big Ten sanction is going to come down, or the announcement of the sanction is going to come down as early as tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because if he had a feeling it might be later in the week, well, then maybe he would go to the meeting in Dallas and still be back on campus.
That's a good point. Yeah,
for sure. Perhaps. Well, we won't get a chance to get to all the Matt Rule audio, but while we're on the subject, Matt Rule, and we'll ask Mitch about this here in a little bit, because it was Mitch that asked the question regarding the sign stealing scandal.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what Matt Rule had to say. This isn't all of what Matt Rule had to say because it went about 2.5 minutes, but here's about a 48-second clip, which pretty much tells you everything that you need to know about what Matt Rule had to say in regards to Michigan.
What's the Husker prayer? Dear Lord, the battles we go through in life, we ask for a chance it's fair. That's all I want. I want every game. I want the 60 minutes of the game to be fair, not tilted one way or the other. And, I just think I want to do things right so our players learn the difference between right and wrong, even in competitive equity. And I think it's a shame when people say, well, would it have mattered? You know what I mean? It's a great analogy, but I'm afraid to use it. But, so I I just, it is what it is. I mean, other people have talked about it. It happened, whether it affected or not. None of that matters to me. I just feel bad for our guys. As they look at me like, hey, coach, what are you doing about this? So I do feel like I need to say something on their behalf.
I would love to be inside of Matt Rule's head as he's talking through this answer, because you can literally hear him editing himself
totally
the entire time, saying, I shouldn't say this. Here comes another idea. Nope, deflection, can't say that. Oh, here's another thing. You use this analogy. No, better not say that. Oh, someone might.
He's better at it than Jim Harbaugh, or not Jim Harbaugh, that guy from Central Michigan, where he called the sign stealer guy.
The sign stealer guy. Yeah.
He just paused.
Yeah. And then Sam McEwen asked a follow-up, because the Michigan defense to this point has been, well, Connor Stalions, rogue guy. He was off on his own, no authority. So Sam McEwen asked, do you know what all of your staffers are doing? Is basically the defense of, well, this guy went rogue. Does it fly with you?
There's not an analyst on our staff that wouldn't be at a football analyst that wouldn't be at a away or home game with us. At a home game, there's not one person that doesn't have duties assigned. At an away game, there are some people that we would leave behind. But there's not a coaching analyst on our staff that doesn't travel with us and have a job. Yeah. I mean,
again, deflect.
Very hard here. I just think, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm only speaking for our team. I don't ever want to cast shade on other people and other teams. Like I've been that guy that, the whole world's kind of taking shots at you, and you're, so I'm not saying that. What I am saying is I just want the 60 minutes of the game fair.
He does not want anything to be taken out of context and be used against him. He has been doing this since he got to Nebraska, and I'd say it's ramped up, especially since in season, because I think he has very quickly realized, and this is not a negative for the record, he's very quickly realized what he says is going to be picked apart. It sounds harsh, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
And I think
especially in this case,
I think
those psychos at Michigan are picking everything apart.
I think he realized
they
it.
Probably accused Matt Rule's kid of being a part of the leaks.
I think he realized it after he said what he did about Anthony Grant before the season.
Yeah, and
then he fumbled, and then everyone was like, "You said this. Why did you lie to us?" And he's like, "Okay, chill out." But this last week, things finally started. People finally started putting some actual words behind, what they had to say about Michigan. And obviously, there was a lot talked about Ryan Walters last week and what he said, and then the handshake or whatever, the lack of handshake in the post game there. So I am fascinated to see what happens with Penn State this weekend, and then the handshake between him and Ryan Day is going to be.
Yeah,
that'll be like, remember the old Belichick, Tony Dungy ones? How legendary those were. This is going to be that, but I'd say on steroids.
Problematic music enjoyer, Ryan Day.
Ryan Day, thank you, Nick, for reminding me. Thank you.
When Jim Schwartz was the coach of the Lions, and who was the coach of the 49ers? And they had a real testy exchange on the handshake.
Oh, it was you're talking about Harbaugh and Schwartz?
Oh, it's Harbaugh.
Yeah.
It was Harbaugh and Jim Schwartz.
Because he gave him the handshake and then he slapped him on the back.
Yeah.
And then Schwartz chased him down and wanted to fight him.
Yep.
Gosh, that was so funny. That was an all-timer. The Lions made the playoffs that year.
Honestly, if I were a coach, I wouldn't even shake Harbaugh's hand. I'd just stick my finger in his face. I'd just start telling him off. I'd basically make Harbaugh tell me off.
Finger wagging.
Oh, yeah. And then I'd slap the beady-eyed, four-eyed goof.
Hey!
That's
you
assault,
cheating
brother.
son of a...
Four-eyed? Damn, Nick.
That's rough.
He's coming at people like you.
I don't need to take these strays, John.
No,
Nick, you're a goober, says John Bishop.
I wasn't taking... No, Jim Harbaugh's a goober.
But Nick is a goober by association.
Because of the glasses.
Because of the glasses.
Thanks for calling me John.
Look at over here, nerd. That's what John just said. Wow, Will says Harbaugh is Michigan's Putin.
Whoa.
I'm going to take a screenshot and tweet that one out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's not surprising at all. The only difference is Harbaugh hasn't had anyone killed.
That's a fun summer topic. Which football coaches could you compare to other dictators? Sorry, president.
Michigan is not on Nebraska's schedule anymore, thank God.
No, they are not.
But on our schedule is Mitch Sherman.
Oh, nice segue, John.
On 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, heads up roadwork has traffic down to just one lane on L Street for both directions between 30th and 24th. Bring your patience through there. Same goes with traffic down to one lane on southbound 72nd between Dodge and Farnham. Some utility work on 60th, causing delays for both directions between F Street and L Street. And then some delays on westbound Dodge, starting at 680, going to 120th. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Sometimes life throws you a curveball and you need a solution fast. A solution to help you make payroll, to save your house, to keep growing, or fund a startup, to fix a roof or other major repair. Saul's is your fast, local, confidential solution. Get the cash you need today with Saul's.
There's nothing like football season here in Nebraska. Hi, this is Sunny.
And I'm Darwin with DJ's Dugout.
During football season, a portion of our sales at DJ's will be donated to the new Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial Project being built in Papillion.
As a Vietnam veteran, I'm proud for DJ's to support the new Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
To learn more about this meaningful project, visit nvvmf.org. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long. And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Mitch Sherman of The Athletic joining us.
Hello, guys. The intent that he had in putting this staff together will overrule all of that, no pun intended. Yeah, you've got to get bigger and bolder every time, right?
Call Mitch. Call Mitch. Call Mitch. Call Mitch.
Mitch Sherman of The Athletic joins us on the 42 Degrees The Source Hotline. Mitch, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you guys?
Not bad. Just trying to piece together what happened on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, but the performance that Nebraska put forth, was it all that much different than the prior 3 games? It's just Nebraska just ran out of, I guess, mulligans. Because, I mean, it's not like the other games weren't filled with mistakes and turnovers. It's just Nebraska was a little better equipped maybe to handle those previous 3. What was your thought as you watched Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, in response to that, I'd say that the bounces didn't go their way that they got in the previous 3 games. Maybe not as much the Northwestern game, but Illinois and Purdue, Nebraska had a lot of things that went their way. And, I would say that they created their own luck in some of those cases. But that's maybe giving them a little bit too much credit because there were still mistakes and turnovers, and they found a way to overcome that stuff. And part of the way they overcame it in those wins was by just kind of evening the score. And, they were down in the turnover category in all 3 games, but it was -1 in each of them. And they did a pretty good job of getting the ball back. So they even that out for the most part. I mean, still -1. That's not nearly as bad as -3, which was the case on Saturday. And it was beyond the turnovers. I mean, there were just like the coin flip plays or the game turning plays where you have to kind of be 50-50 or better in order to win games where the talent level is comparable. That's definitely still where Nebraska's at. I mean, you can make what you want of the 5-3 record versus 2-6 going in. There's still not a huge gap, much of a gap in the talent on those teams, much like what we saw in the previous 3 games. You've got to come pretty close to winning your share of those like turning point plays. And, you can take into account the various calls by the officials that didn't go Nebraska's way in those situations, and the turnovers and like the special teams plays. And it's really kind of miraculous. And the yardage was pretty even. It's really kind of miraculous that they only lost by 3.
Mitch, kind of along the lines of John's question, you wrote on Saturday after the game that nothing felt comfortable for the Huskers. I want to focus that quote on the defense. What was it about that side of the ball? Have you been able to kind of make heads or tails of it 48 hours later for why? Because they just didn't look like they had it compared to the last 3 weeks. That was I'd say the worst that they looked since the Michigan game.
Well, they weren't getting the ball out, and some of that is a credit to Michigan State for having good ball security, and that hasn't been their MO all year, and they did a better job against Nebraska. So I think that's some of it. Their quarterback play was pretty sharp. They bring in, they had 2 freshmen, and one of them, they were both decent with their mobility, but one of them was clearly more of a runner than the other, the kind of the off-pace guy. And he came in and did his job, and they made some throws when they needed to make throws. It just wasn't like an overall, Rule used the word crisp. I think that's about as good as I can come up with. Some of the guys said they didn't feel like they were flying around as much in the first half. You saw them turn up the intensity in the second half. They responded pretty well to getting down 10 points. There's times probably like against Colorado, certainly against Michigan, but that was more of a talent thing and just like the inevitability of that game, where when they got down a couple of scores, they didn't respond well. I thought they responded much better on the defensive side to getting down by 10 points when it looked like it was going to be really tough to cut in that game to the way the defense was moving to come back. But they kept their fight, and they probably even upped the intensity and started playing the kind of defense there toward the end of the game. And maybe some of that was some Michigan State trying to sit on the lead, but that you expect to see. I think if they would have had that for 4 quarters, you might have been looking at a different outcome, because really in these games, that's been the difference for Nebraska. It's been the defense winning games, and they didn't do enough to win the game. They didn't necessarily lose the game, but they didn't do enough to win it. And that's kind of the formula for Nebraska to victory in the Big Ten is to win with their D.
Mitch Sherman of The Athletic. I think there's a lot of different layers to the Heinrich Haarberg conversation and why he continues to play despite the mistakes. Yeah. Obviously, they love his competitive spirit. He probably, at least in the way this offense is constructed, gives them the best chance to win. There's an element of what they trust or don't trust with Jeff Sims and or Chubba Purdy at play here. Is there one thing or a couple of things that rise above the rest, or is it just a litany of different reasons why Haarberg should still be, or at least in Matt Rule's opinion, still be the guy?
Well, I think it's all those things you mentioned. Maybe the thing that rises above all the others is that they found a chemistry. They found what looked like a winning formula. I mean, it was. They won 5 out of 6 games before Saturday,
right, with
him in charge. So they found something, and they were really searching for something, because after 2 games, you wondered, what's gonna get this team to the next level? How are they gonna find anything? And they did. And then when they came home, and then they just decided to ride with it. And I don't think they wanted to disturb that after 5 out of 6 wins. I mean, there was a moment of truth that arrived after Michigan, And we saw that, and you saw them respond with 3 more wins. So there wasn't a whole lot of reason to say disturb things, I guess, until Saturday arrived. And, you go through the game and you're not really, you want to ride with what's got you there. And then it gets to the end and he gets you back into it with a 40-plus yard run to get down to the goal line. And it's like, okay, there's 6 minutes left or 4 minutes left, whatever it was. And it's a 3-point game. You can't sit him at that point. It's easy to look back now and go, man, they should have given Chubb a Purdy a look, but we don't. I mean, they see Purdy and we've seen enough of Sims, or I think I've seen enough of Sims to know that he's probably not the answer in that situation.
Yeah.
But and they've seen Purdy in practice. It's as simple as just thinking like, hey, this has been the formula that's produced some good results over the course of 7 weeks, 6 games in 7 weeks. So let's not go away from this when it's really been very successful. I mean, 5-1 with a loss to Michigan is very successful considering all that's happened to this team.
Yeah.
And they just came up short on Saturday.
Mitch, how did the quotes in support of Harbaugh read to you inside of the moment and getting to read the body language of the players? Because there was quite a bit of it, that was littered in a lot of the stories that came out of the game. I wonder how it sounded in person.
I think it probably sounded similar to what it read. I didn't think that that sometimes there is a difference when guys are talking and you can see their body language, and if the body language is bad and you think they're just saying what they're supposed to say, then there's a reason to distinguish between the written word and the spoken word. But in this case, no, I thought they pretty much meant what they said. They sold it pretty well. I mean, Emmett Johnson was I think he legitimately felt that way when he talked about how Heinrich gets a lot of blame, but he's our guy, he's our quarterback. They want to ride with him. I don't think the players want to see a change. I mean, would they support another guy if he got put out there? Sure. I mean, because they were behind Jeff Sims. You go back to hearing Billy Kemp early in the year talk about Jeff Sims and how Jeff was part of the reason that he wanted to come to Nebraska because they played against each other in the ACC and he admired him. And that's how they feel about Heinrich, especially the young guys. Especially the players, they look up to him because he's the one that set the tone for them to start winning football games. And Emmett Johnson's in that category. I think all the young receivers who are playing are in that category. Thomas Fedoni is the guy who came in with Heinrich, and they've been close since they were recruited together to Nebraska. So they believe in him. I mean, I think they're not blind to the fact that he's got some shortcomings, but they all kind of. I mean, it's just kind of like a team with at least on the offensive side with shortcomings that exist at every position group. So he's the poster child for that.
Mitch, if Matt Rule is thinking about bringing in a transfer quarterback this winter, at least it didn't come across to me like he's sounding like it. Granted, he wasn't asked directly about this, but I thought it was interesting when he was asked today about Heinrich Harbaugh. There was a comment in there about how he's coaching Heinrich and how he's not just coaching him for this season, he's coaching him for beyond this year. And then later,
they need him to,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
Well, they need him to compete. I mean, even if he is planning, and I think he is planning on bringing in a transfer. And I don't say that because of anything that has come from him or anybody connected to him. I just think it because of what I see and what they probably have to do. And I don't think they can count on both Purdy and Sims being there next year. So then what, you're going to roll with Harbaugh and maybe one of those guys and it's true freshman. And no, you're going to go to the portal. They've got to go to the portal. I mean, even if it's, but he speaks to the way that he does about Harbaugh because of all the stuff that we talked about and how he helped them win games. Again, was he the number one reason? No, it was the defense. It was the special teams improvement. It was the game planning. It was the culture starting to take hold, and he's on that list somewhere. But Rule, they're not going to throw him away. They're not going to move him to tight end in January. I mean, whoever they bring in, whether it's one guy or two guys or whatever. And I think that's even you have to consider that as a possibility. I'm not sold on the theory or the belief that they need to bring in two quarterbacks. I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. Again, that's going to depend on who stays among the players who are on scholarship. But you're coaching Heinrich like this one, because you're still relying on him in these last 3 games, but I think they have hopes for him to compete, and they're not going to bring somebody in like Sims and hand him the job. I mean, Sims was handed the job. Let's not make something of it that he wasn't. It was given to him when he got here and started to work in the spring. I mean, not to say I think he was a good teammate and he went out and he impressed them in the spring. I think he is probably impressive at times, a lot of times on the practice field, but they intended to put him in a position to win the job. Well, that's not going to be the case if they go to the portal, when they go to the portal this winter. That guy's going to come in and they're going to want him and Harbaugh, and if Purdy's still there, to try to push each other in the spring, because they've got to get out of that situation with somebody who really gives them a chance for the quarterback position to be a strength.
Mitch, I wonder how you felt about Satterfield on Saturday in terms of his play calling. It seemed like that was another one of the, and we always have discourse around here with the offensive coordinator, but I found the discussion surrounding this game in particular pretty interesting, because I really do feel for anyone who says, look, what do you expect? He's down to his backup this, backup that, yada, yada, yada. On the other hand, like, Harbaugh dropped back to pass over 30 times, and I don't think that's ever going to be a key to success. What did you think of his play calling on Saturday?
Yeah, some of those pass numbers were probably skewed because they had to throw it in the fourth quarter. When they were down. So I there were times where I thought they were forcing the pass. There were a couple times, once in the first half, once in the second half, when they had success with like 10-yard plus runs by 2 different backs on consecutive plays. And I just thought, okay, here they go. They can put together a drive that's going to set the tone for the rest of the day by just pounding it at Michigan State. And in both of those instances, they went to something else. And I realized you have to mix it up, but they didn't come back. They didn't really come back to the kind of running plays they had success with during those drives. And so I'm not like, I don't, that wasn't good, but I also think they showed some nice creativity. I mean, what he has to work with is not, it's not jumping off the page. There were some nice things they did, like when they put two of the freshmen out wide. It was Coleman out wide, Dawson the slot, Alex Bullock was out wide on a 3rd and long play, and then they handed it to Josh Fleeks in the backfield, and he got 12 or 13 yards for a first down. And that was a really good play call. There was another time that they put Fedoni out wide at wide receiver and gave Michigan State another a look that Nebraska hasn't shown. And Harbaugh, it was his first read, and Harbaugh hit him, and Thomas picked up the first down. That was nice. There was another where they had Grant and Johnson in the backfield at the same time on the opposite sides of Harbaugh in the shotgun, and I don't remember what they did out of that play, but they got something out of it. And so they're not. I mean, they're trying different things. They tried Lloyd on a reverse again, and it got a few yards. They obviously want to break that play for bigger yardage. There were plays where Malachi Coleman was in position to make. He had one really nice catch where he was like a shoestring tackle or a tackle on his leg from breaking it for like 80 yards. He obviously got interfered with on the ball down the field. That was ridiculous that wasn't called.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't like I don't think you can put it all on the offensive coordinator, but it's not like he gets a gold star. The offense was pretty off for the most part.
Who gets a gold star on Saturday besides anyone on Michigan State?
Yeah,
there's somebody.
There was, Cam Lenhart, I thought played a nice game.
Good.
I wouldn't give it to anybody on offense. Fedoni didn't play a bad game, but he didn't necessarily stand out. Like he doesn't get a gold star either. But there were a few guys on defense that did some nice stuff. I thought, Newsome got beat on the touchdown where he fell down, but that shouldn't have been a touchdown because he hit the ground. I mean, other than that play, I thought he held up well. Tommy Hill held up all right, although he got beat once or twice. There wasn't anybody who on the defense where I would say, man, they got exposed. That was terrible. Ty Robinson had a nice play at one point coming down the line of scrimmage. They made some plays here and there on the defensive side. So, but again, there weren't standouts, they need to have guys, and this is going to be the case in the last 3 games too. They're going to have guys step up and make and have excellent games, and that happened That happened enough in the previous 3 games to help get them.
I'm not one to ask for a lot of requests, but if I have a request for a reporter who covers a lot of press conferences, could we get a question of Ed Foley? And this is serious because we had a lot of people ask about this. And of course, I've heard it quoted ad nauseum for years that the hard and fast rule on punts was you put your heels on the 10-yard line. If the ball goes over your head, you let it roll. If it's outside the 10-yard line, you make the fair catch. Has that rule or hard and fast rule changed? Because it's not just Nebraska. I see it happen every week in the NFL. The Rams did it again yesterday. I wonder with the surface, and this was a grass surface, or the way that punters are able to, they kind of do that little drop technique like Australian rules football where they drop it on the nose and they get them to backspin. If the technique of punting has changed that hard and fast rule that 10 yards and in, don't touch it.
Yeah, I know they've kind of moved it to the 8 from the 10. And that I've heard coaches say that they want them at the 8 with the don't put your feet on the 8 and don't go beyond that. But Billy Kemp went inside, went beyond that. He went closer to the end zone twice. And you're almost getting like the Cam Taylor-Britt territory against Illinois a couple of years ago where, it was about as bad as can happen in one of those situations. And he just lost track of where he was, but he's doing fine these days. So
yes, he is.
but
congrats on the win.
Right. And a nice pick of Josh Allen last night. So good job, Cam. But the whole punt return situation at Michigan State deserves more scrutiny than it's got. And Rules tried to diffuse that today by saying that's on me. I'll take this one. I should have put somebody out there who was ready to return the ball. But I understand the conundrum that they're in, and that Billy Kemp wants desperately to help this team, and he's not back to 100%. So they didn't want him running with the football, but they also felt like, hey, look, they muffed one a week ago, and they fumbled a kickoff. Like the last thing they want to do is go on the road and have an error in the special teams game, and they also were trying to block it. Like they had the punt block on. It's hard to have a punt block and set up a good return. So they're just like, hey, we're going to sell out to try to block these punts. They saw something from Michigan State that made them think that they could get to one. And without a return set up in the blocking area and with Kemp being hurt, they just wanted him to catch it. Now, I mean, there was one time he caught it, and I think he had about 15 or 20 yards in front of it, and he was at the 20.
Yeah.
Like, that can't happen.
No.
And, Rule said today that he should have gone to Ethan Nation sooner and instead of the last time. So, I think he is probably self-scouted accurately there.
Mitch Sherman of The Athletic. Read his great work at theathletic.com. You should be a member.
Yes.
Join the club.
Exactly. Join the club. Join the club. Be a member of the Athletic Nation. Mitch Sherman, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Mitch.
Mitch joins us every Monday here on the Grum.
That's a good question, John. It's a very good question.
Well, I'm if it's the 8-yard line, but Billy Kemp was still in there because I asked it aloud on Saturday's postgame show because it was a natural grass field, so the ball will bounce differently there. Also, a lot of punters now, and you watch it, they'll drop the nose of that football down. So when they kick it, it develops the backspin and it checks up like you're hitting a 9-iron.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if special teams is being coached differently because I see it. I mean, the Rams do it once a game and it drives me nuts. It's like, let the damn ball go. But yes, we obviously know Billy Kemp was in there just to play Santino Panico. It was the decision to fair catch as many times as he did versus just get out of the way and take your chances with it. That was the most confounding to me.
Yeah,
but the other part of it too is how damn frustrating it is that you don't have one other person on that team you trust to go back there and field a punt and maybe move forward with it.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. They lost a lot of yardage on that and the punts themselves that they had from your boy Steve Buscemi.
I mean, when Bill Callahan brought in Santino Panico, that was a white flag of surrender. That we didn't practice this enough. We're not focusing on this enough, and we don't care enough about punt returns. And Saturday was, sadly, a white flag.
Mm-hmm.
Because you gave up a buttload of field position. And with an offense that has a hard enough time moving 40 yards, much less 80 or 90 yards, you're just killing yourself.
Yeah, those extra yards are massive.
There's a lot to react to from yesterday. There's a lot to react to from Saturday.
We don't have to react to anything from yesterday or talk about it even.
Wow.
So we're watching the Fox Chit Chat show. They brought in a live eagle because the
What
Eagles
would they have done
won.
if the Cowboys brought in a live cowboy?
Howdy,
They would have brought in a goat roper who probably would have started shooting people.
Brought in a live, like a bathroom stall at one of those shady gas stations, and they would have said, "Hey, look at that."
It would have been hologram Jared
I mean,
dressed
what
up
if-
as a cowboy.
So did they bring in like a
Glory hole.
an 1840s minor when the 49ers beat Dallas a few
Yeah,
years ago?
seriously, they bring in
we gonna get ourselves some gold, and we're gonna
they bring in a lion when the Lions keep winning football games.
Oh, they should do that.
They should.
That would be hilarious.
What would be the worst
Actually,
and
no,
or
bring a
funniest
dolphin in.
mascot to bring into a Chit Chat show studio?
Would it be a
after
dolphin?
win?
They would have to make so many acclamations for it.
Yeah.
Acclamations? Is that the right word? They'd have to bring in a pool.
What would they bring in for the Browns?
Ugh.
Just Paul Brown.
Wouldn't they just? Is he
He's dead.
Dig him up.
Bring in his corpse, John.
Have him on. Just put him on a dolly.
Yeah.
All right. We got more to come, including it's not all bleak, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you supposedly have good stats.
Well, there's a chance. 1620 the zone.
Hey, everyone. Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. You know, earlier, John was talking about what he would say if he saw Jim Harbaugh in front of him, and he brought up the glasses. And then I said, man, think about, though, if Harbaugh went to Kugler Vision. John, if Jim Harbaugh would have went to Kugler Vision, all of the stuff that Michigan is alleged to have done, maybe they wouldn't have needed to do it because he could have seen over on the other side of the field and he would have known what was happening on the other side of the field. Kugler Vision can help you see all of the action, whether you're standing on one sideline to the other or just wanting to watch your favorite sporting event up close, far away, wherever you're at inside the arena, in the stadium. I know so many of you will be going to a basketball game tonight, a basketball game tomorrow. Sometimes you're sitting up in the 300 level. When I sit up there now, man, I see all of the action, whether it's a made three in Omaha or a missed three, usually in Lincoln. 402-558-2211 is one way to get in contact. You can also visit their website, kuglervision.com. Figure out which of their 7 procedures will work best for you so you can see what's going on that other sideline and hopefully help yourself win a football game. 402-558-2211 or kuglervision.com.
Previously on the crossover.
And we rolled him over on the side. He hit one of those ruts, turned 45 degrees sideways, hit the retaining wall, and eventually started going end over end. And so every time the top of the barrel, the exposed end, you'd see his arms flaying. And we stood there at the top of the hill. We were looking at each other going, do we go down and save him or do we run?
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Partly cloudy and cooling off tonight. Low temperature dipping back into the lower 40s. Partly cloudy, mild on Tuesday. A high temperature again in the upper 60s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, heads up roadwork has traffic down to just one lane on L Street for both directions between 30th and 24th. Bring your patience through there. Same goes with traffic down to one lane on southbound 72nd between Dodge and Farnham. Some utility work on 60th, causing delays for both directions between F Street and L Street. And then some delays on westbound Dodge, starting at 680, going to 120th. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Enjoy Romeo's Grande Pizza and Taco Combo. One large 2-topping pizza, 4 soft-shell tacos, chips, and queso dip for only $29.99. Only at Romeo's. Carry out only.
Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza. Not your typical restaurant.
Shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first and experience the difference. Their large showroom at 119th and I is indoors. It allows you to shop inside during all kinds of weather conditions. New and pre-owned inventory, stylish SUVs that fit the whole family comfortably, to capable trucks to get the job done. Woodhouse Buick GMC has something for everyone, and I mean everyone. And right now they have a 23 Buick Envision Preferred all-wheel drive for you, which has more than enough style, power, and technology to make every day an occasion. Plus, you can save $22.50 off MSRP right now. See dealer for details. If a truck is in your future, the 23 GMC Yukon with Super Cruise driver assistant technology is one of the features that helps you get the job done. Shop Woodhouse GMC first. Huge indoor showroom, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Hi, this is Kathy Canoyer. 'Tis the season at Glasshouse Market within Canoyer Garden Center. We'd like to be a part of your family's holiday tradition. Whether you're looking for a gift for that special someone or a wreath for your front door, we'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market full of Christmas decor, novelty items, and fresh greens. Shop Glasshouse Market, located within Canoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Canoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. This is unsportsmanlike conduct.
And I want more of the cream. I need the cream.
On 1620, The Zone.
By the way, there is a Nebraska ball game tonight.
What about Nebraska?
And the official availability report came out. Casey will not play tonight. He is listed as out.
Yep.
So too is Blaze Cada, Aaron Eulis, who's of course suspended, Juwan Gary also. So
yeah.
There you go. They're taking on a thing called Lindenwood.
A thing, John, that's a school. There are kids there.
Oh, is it a school?
I think.
Okay. Lindenwood sounds like, if you can't go all the way in on buying true oak furniture, you go with the Lindenwood.
It sounds like a candle scent you'd get as a special edition.
It does. Or Lindenwood could be McKendre's cousin.
McKendre, will you be watching the game?
It's on BTN Plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Go to Jack's
but
house.
I do have Peacock.
Go to Jack's house.
Yeah, no, you and Jack should do a little swap.
You
give
should.
him your Peacock, and he gives you his big.
It's like
Plus.
swinging, but with
Well, then I won't be able
streaming
to
services.
Then I won't be able to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger on with the Mannings.
You would not be able to. You could do that on the second TV.
Isn't that only available on ESPN Plus now?
No, it's on ESPN 2.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I always watch the games on my streaming thing.
Oh, that's right.
DirecTV.
Why do you do that again? Oh, you like the picture.
The picture's so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, so much better.
No, it is. It's better
No,
than cable.
I believe that.
It's better than cable. I just don't like being behind.
Did you
see this here about this? What? Tell me more. Tell me more.
After the USC Washington game the other night?
Yeah.
Caleb Williams. We've got the video here.
I did see this. Yes.
Caleb Williams goes up into the stands for his mom. She then takes a piece of paper that she was holding in her hand, uses it to cover her son's face, and you can tell by just the way his body is quivering.
sobbing.
He is sobbing.
Yeah.
He's basically sobbing into his mother's arms after the game. He played very well, but as per usual, USC's defense is hot trash.
Yeah, and they didn't fire Alex Grinch until yesterday. Yeah, I thought it was a very human moment for a player that, look, I get it. When you're as good as Caleb Williams, when you play the brand of football that he does, he's going to have supporters. He's going to have people that dislike him. I understand it. He's become kind of a lightning rod of a player, and
and he's also said a few things.
Sure, but like lately, people have really wanted him. I think that some people are rooting for him to sit out like well before the end of the season because then they can say, see. So I think that that's been a conversation and like, how much does he care? He's checked out, yada, yada, yada. To me, that was one of those moments that says, so here's my theory on why so much emotion Saturday versus the other two losses. Saturday is truly when, he wasn't going to win the Heisman. So that goal was gone, but they're chances of making the conference title game are now done. They're toast.
done.
So they're not going to have any tiebreakers. They are a 7-3 football team now. So like this is now going to be the most losses he's ever had in a season, in a regular season, certainly. And so like all these goals are just disappearing. And so to me, that said, like I just think everything hit him in that moment, and it showed.
Do you think it is a sign that maybe he's done playing at USC?
See, now I don't.
Because I'm not, listen, I don't know what he's going through personally, but the national championship dreams have been gone for a few weeks.
Yes.
The conference title dreams really have been gone for a few weeks.
But now it's like official.
Right. But is he really that emotional about the Pac-12 championship?
But why wouldn't he be? See, like this is where it gets unfair with him, in my opinion. Why wouldn't he care?
Well, I'm not saying he shouldn't care, but I'm wondering if there's more to it than just the Pac-12 championship. That maybe the weight of all of his future and the conversation about him, and maybe he is stressing over, because I'm sure he's got people in his ear.
Of course
that he
does.
trusts, saying, "Hey man, you gotta just shut this."
Of course.
And he doesn't want to face that.
Yeah.
So I'm not questioning why he's feeling emotion. I'm wondering if the reason why it hit him in this moment was because all of this stuff has now suddenly, because I don't think that is just about the Pac-12 champion.
No, it's probably
I think
just
it's
his
more
career.
than
I mean, like all of his goals for his career now, like he will not have, he's not going to leave it with any hardware. I mean, he'll have the individual hardware, which is awesome, but he is not going to have any sort of team success.
Right.
You know, he didn't win a conference title at Oklahoma. He didn't win a conference title last year, and he's not going to get it to even play for one this year. And so his career, he will leave as one of the best quarterbacks, of the 21st century, let's say, like Heisman winners who didn't even win a conference title. It's a short list. It's like him, RG3, Johnny Manziel. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of any others, just real quick off the top of my head. I think those are the ones that didn't win a conference championship. So
do you think this hurts his draft stock?
That he cried?
I saw this on Twitter.
My God. If it does,
that's such a wild take.
Yeah, that's stupid. I don't understand why people get upset when men show emotion, but
no, but
especially
it's
something you're so passionate about.
Yeah, I feel like
Right.
this should be a positive that he cares that much, that he would show that type of emotion. Why is that a negative? Why would that be a negative?
But again, it stems back to exactly why it all hit him. And is it all just about I lost another game, or is it other things out there?
But again,
because those things in his character, as we know, when NFL players, especially quarterbacks, high draft picks they're going to pick every little thing apart.
Yeah, but he's super talented.
And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of the second guessing and the stuff that's
I know, but like, what is out? Am I missing something? Is he supposedly a bad guy? Like, I know that the owner...
I'm just saying, if people are going to pick him apart for this episode,
well, if it does, it'll probably be the Bears that are doing it, and then they'll regret it.
The thing I have seen people picking him apart for is I think there was a tweet where he made fun of Duggan for crying.
Well, that's a tough look if he made fun of
look.
someone for doing that and then he cried himself, because that's some hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what Danielle said? No problem with the crying. The hypocrisy is a bad look. Is that what it is? Oh, okay.
I believe.
I had no idea.
I believe so.
Yeah, I had no idea.
But I've also seen people saying him crying means he's not mentally tough, and then there's
toxic
masculinity.
Yeah, and I'll obviously disagree with that. It's a shame that his head
Roger
coach
Staubach never cried.
I'm sure he cried. It's a shame that his coach didn't fire the defensive coordinator a little bit sooner. Now, I don't think that this team was going to be good enough. I think Oregon's going to win that conference, man. I think Oregon.
I got bad news though. Yes, Grinch had to go because he's the face of the defensive front.
It's a Lincoln Riley
But
problem.
it's a Lincoln Riley problem.
John,
It's a major Lincoln Riley problem.
A few weeks ago when we did Hot Take Market, I said take I could be talked into is Lincoln Riley's never going to win he's never going to win anything of note in college football. And oddly, a few weeks later, the stronger I feel about that.
And then there was the other game that was going on at the same time in which it was a race for points.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have more on LSU and their defense tomorrow. But
what hot take will you have about their defense?
Oh,
John,
you're just
wait. No,
it's hot because I got numbers to back it up.
But it's not soapbox market. You just want to get on your soapbox.
I'm gonna, and it's gonna be great.
John,
and I got numbers to back it up.
If you keep standing on the soapbox this week, you're gonna wear a hole in it.
Yeah.
You have to get a new soapbox, but they don't make them anymore.
John, if you keep being right all the time,
But
we're going to get tired
John,
of you being
if you
right
want to
all
make
the
fun of
time.
LSU's defense, do it, but don't hide behind hot take market. Just say what you want to say.
Yeah, make it a segment,
Well,
John.
it's part of the hot take
But
market.
it's not a hot. So you're going to say something like LSU's defense is bad. That's not a hot take. Everyone knows that.
Also, everyone knows that
You don't even know what my hot take is yet, and
You
you're
always
already
do this.
casting.
By the way, Mason Daniel points out.
No. You don't get to play that game with me.
You always do this.
You'll hear it tomorrow, and
Okay.
you'll understand.
Mason Daniel, by the way, points out Lamar Jackson didn't win a conference championship. Thank you. So
People
there's
forget
another-
Lamar is good.
He is good.
Well, neither did Patrick Mahomes.
No. I'm saying we were talking about Heisman winners that had.
Heisman winners. Heisman winners. Yeah. But just remember the immortal words of the GOAT.
Everybody would like to be successful.
Turn the damn audio up, Nick. Turn it up.
It's up.
You beady-eyed, four-eyed.
Everybody would like to be successful. Everybody's not willing to do the things you need to do to be successful. You know, we had one speaker come here and showed the biggest tiger I've ever seen. Took up the whole screen. And he said, everybody wants to be the beast, but everybody don't want to do what the beast do. So if you want to be the beast, you got to do what the beast do. All right, thanks.
Man, that guy, he's in his bag right now.
Did you see what he did after the game? So there was I can't remember the name of the wide receiver, but it was a receiver that transferred from Alabama to LSU. And they shook hands after the game, and there's video of it, and you can hear it. And basically it was Saban telling this kid, hey, man, you know you'd be getting more playing time if you'd have stayed with us and if you went to...
I didn't see that.
This is hilarious.
I saw the picture of the handshake. I didn't realize that's what he said.
Yeah, this was with the player. He was talking. This wasn't a Brian Kelly thing. This was just with the player.
Yeah.
You got to warn me before you play something off the computer, John.
I thought you always had that thing.
We just talked about this last week.
I keep it off so I can edit stuff over here.
You shouldn't be editing stuff over there. You should always have this up. You never know when I'm gonna spring a surprise on you.
I like Nick. I think you should stop doing it because I think it's funny when then John gets triggered. So
it is funny.
And then he calls you a beady-eyed,
four-eyed goober.
I'm not going to not edit during the show. Otherwise, I will be here until 8 p.m. every night.
John doesn't care about you, Nick. Obviously.
Well, neither does Josh.
I care about him.
He's always backseat producing you.
I don't backseat produce Nick anymore at all. I tell him to call guests sometimes.
Just like I don't watch the Rams games on my DirecTV Sunday.
You don't have to include DirecTV in that. I don't think DirecTV even.
Actually, I wish I would have because then I would have had an excuse not to watch it.
Yeah, maybe
because it was on regular TV.
Just turn on a red zone, John. You'll be fine. No. Turn on the second TV when your team plays like crap. Then you can watch the other stuff.
No.
Okay.
Well, now I probably just won't watch my team at all.
Are you done? Are you done with the Rams?
Might be.
They stink, and they don't have a quarterback anymore.
Well,
they make me sad.
Stafford will be back in a couple weeks.
Yes, but until then.
Well, but next week's a bye week or an idle week.
Oh,
or is it a bye week? Is it a bye week in the NFL? No, it's an idle week.
Well, we called it. It's always an idle week. The bye isn't.
The bye is the
except for
playoff.
the
That's right. The bye is the
yes,
playoff. That's right.
yes, because it's something you earn.
Fair point. Yeah. We're idle next week. Thank God.
Nice. You don't have to watch them. So instead, you get to watch that great slate of football. Wait till we do Fired Up for Football this week.
It's not gonna be a great slate. I'm telling you right now.
I don't know what I'm going to do this week.
Well, guess what, friends? We've got
Watch
good
football.
news for you.
We're on an idol.
I think it's good news
There are
anyway.
other games, Nick.
I think it's good news.
Okay.
And we're going to get to an email that we got over the weekend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're going back into the Heinrich Harburg bag.
Heine.
And I haven't even talked about my new manager yet.
Oh, we have not talked about that yet either. So many things.
Lots of things and lots of time with you on 1620 The Zone.
Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard Sense qualified technicians is just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel, they make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is two $25 vouchers for just $25 to 72 Table and Tap. Try one of the 20 beers on tap or any of the 150 whiskeys. They also serve salads, tasty bar food, flatbreads, pizzas, sandwiches, and desserts. 72 Table and Tap. Eat, drink, gather, and repeat.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line. Price max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required. Other restrictions apply.
Creighton Sports Update. Hey, Blue Jay fans. It's volleyball and soccer season here at Creighton. So get your tickets and come out and support your Blue Jays. For tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com, gocreighton.com/tickets, or visit the office located at the Ryan Athletic Center. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
I know it hasn't been great. You know, we've been talking about Harbaugh, and we'll be talking about Harbaugh again here in a little bit.
Cowboys loss.
Well, I'm trying to talk about the good things now, and you're bringing up the good things.
No, that's the bad thing.
But there is still a chance.
You said we had positives coming.
Oh crap!
John, these are horrible numbers.
I didn't switch slides.
Oh my gosh, you're such a jerk.
The Big Ten West.
I thought you said we had positives.
We do. Nebraska still has a shot at the Big Ten West.
I've changed my tune. 1 week later, I don't want them to win the division.
Why?
I don't think it'd be fun anymore. Last week I was like, this could be fun. What if they gave him a game?
The whole division
What if they gave who a
winning
game?
through attrition. It doesn't actually mean anything.
What?
It still means something. It means someone's got to win it.
I know.
You were one because you were the least bad.
Let
bad
Iowa
team.
be the
Congrats.
sacrificial lamb.
So
Congrats on being the least worst team.
So we're supposed to lose intentionally to avoid winning the Big Ten West? You're all becoming worse than the fans.
I'm not saying they should lose intentionally. I'm just saying I don't want them to win the division anymore.
In order for that to be guaranteed to happen, they need to lose intentionally.
Yeah, because it would always have that asterisk. It's like, yeah, the Nebraska won, but it was in a year.
I don't
where
care about
everybody
that.
else
I just
sucked.
don't know if I want to watch them play Ohio State or Michigan. I just don't know if I want
Well, you
to.
already watched them see You already watched
Well,
Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch it
they
again.
might play Michigan within 20 now that Michigan doesn't have our signs anymore.
Okay.
But Iowa, thanks to the walk-off 3-run home run, I thought it was hilarious that the ball actually went into the right field bleachers at Wrigley, the kick that won the game. So
The video with the highlights that I think the Sickos committee did, where it was black and white like a silent film, was among the funniest content of the college football season. So well done.
Not as funny as watching LSU try to play defense, but
hot take market. I'm going to tell you they're bad.
John, give me back your soapbox. You don't get it until tomorrow.
Make sure you have the thing on, Nick, just in case John
you guys
plays
are
the
so defensive of LSU.
No, I'm not defensive of the. I'm defensive
it's okay that
of
Brian Kelly sucks.
I'm defensive of the topic. I want your take to actually be hot and not LSU's defense.
Oh, it is going to be hot.
And I'm defensive.
You're
going
to think it's going to be very hot.
If you say they're the worst defense ever, I don't really care. It's not offensive.
No, that's already guaranteed to be USC.
All right. Well, I guess now I'm a little curious.
They're pretty stanky.
I might be triggered by it tomorrow. It's the sanctity of the topic, not LSU. I don't care about LSU. It doesn't bother me. I'm not offended. I've made my bed with or made peace with Alabama.
You did make your bed, and you had that Brian Kelly, that fake Cajun talking Southern spun. I wonder if he had sad gumbo to just lean into the bed.
That's what I'm taking a stand against. I'm tired of you using gumbo as an insult, John. Gumbo's delicious.
No, gumbo is delicious, but just
yeah,
like Urban Meyer had sad
that's a negative
pizza,
connotation. John.
You're not familiar with this. After a loss, Urban Meyer had
sad Papa John's.
Had sad Papa John's. They
it
had
was
a picture
very
of
funny.
It.
Google Urban Meyer Papa John's.
And so
it's a
I
very
wonder
funny picture.
if Brian Kelly, who's trying so hard to acclimate himself to Louisiana, just had a bowl of sad gumbo.
Remember when I had sad Taco Bell that one time?
I do.
Good Lord. Not going to do that when the Dallas Cowboys lose in the playoffs.
So here's the remaining schedule. Iowa, 1 game ahead, has the Rutgers, Illinois, and at Nebraska. All very losable games.
Yes, for sure. Yes, every game is losable. Every game is winnable.
Rutgers bowl eligible. People
honestly,
forget.
There's only 1 game on here that is not well, I wouldn't say not winnable, but very hard to win, and that would be Minnesota, who has Ohio State.
Yes, that is the tough of all of the games. That is the toughest game that any of the 4 teams have remaining.
Minnesota is at Purdue, at Ohio State, Wisconsin. And Wisconsin has Northwestern, Nebraska, at Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Minnesota is the only team right now that has all the tiebreakers on their side because they've beaten Nebraska head-to-head and they've beaten Iowa head-to-head. That's why that Ohio State game on there is important because Nebraska can't tie with Minnesota because Minnesota's got the tiebreaker.
Correct.
But there's still a chance.
So if Nebraska wins out, they get it, right? Well, we're assuming that Minnesota's going to lose as well. Because yes, they would be 6-3, and so that would be the best record. And that whatever happens with Iowa,
if Nebraska wins out, assuming that Minnesota doesn't also win out,
which they won't. I mean, Ohio State does kind of stink, so maybe they will. No, Minnesota's not.
No, I can't. Now, if it were to be a 3-way tie, and this is not going to happen.
No, real quick, who would it be a 3-way tie with?
Though? Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota.
Oh, if Minnesota wins out, you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Who would get it? Well, Minnesota would. Because they would own the tiebreaker over both teams.
Yeah.
So assuming that doesn't
So
happen.
Nebraska doesn't totally control its own destiny, but it pretty much does.
Jordan says you don't want to win the last Big Ten West Division title ever, Josh. All right, I've changed my mind. Sure, why not?
Look at the celebration that Oklahoma State had winning the last Bedlam.
That was pretty cool.
Nebraska, and that's a rivalry that's been completely one-sided.
Sure. What's the argument here?
Why wouldn't you want to win the Big Ten West?
It's just more again having to. Last week I was kind of talking myself into the defense being like good enough to maybe make it interesting, and a week later I'm not talking myself into the defense being good enough.
Well, we've already seen what the defense did against Michigan.
I know. I was a little more confident about the program 1 week ago. I'm not as much.
I'm not saying this because I'm a homer, but I think it would make sense if Iowa won it just because of symbolically.
You're not an Iowa homer, Nick. All you do is just say "Go Hawks."
Go Hawks.
Yeah, you. What do you know about Iowa football? You know way more about the Dolphins than you do Iowa.
Caleb McNamara still used to be their quarterback.
Caleb McNamara. Okay, let's get back to.
I forgot his name.
Yeah. Good God.
It's not Caleb.
No, it is definitely not. I'll give you one more guess.
Cade.
All right, you got it in 2.
Bill Connelly.
50% still an F though.
67% chance for Iowa to win.
Sad.
Wisconsin, Nebraska tied at 12, Minnesota at 8.
By the way, did you see this? Did you hear about this? The Nebraska-Minnesota game in prime time on NBC.
No, Wisconsin.
What did I say?
I said Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, Wisconsin, Nebraska. I apologize.
That's right.
That doesn't even sound close.
Apologize.
And on actual NBC, so those of you here locally can watch it on WOWT.
There you go, Jack Mitchell.
Be the first time Nebraska's been on NBC since the Notre Dame game in 2000.
Should I reach out to friend of me who's going to be on the call for this one? Maybe see if we can get him on the Grum next week.
Can.
All right, I'm going to shoot him a text.
And then I went ahead and just did the SP Plus projections, Bill Conley's SP Plus. Maryland, a 2-point favorite, according to Bill's numbers. That's factoring.
Screw you, Bill.
That's factoring in the 2.5 points for home field.
Why did God did the S? Okay, Team Jack Mitchell. The numbers got to get over Wisconsin. Wisconsin stinks. 9 points better. They stink. They lost to Indiana. John,
You
Indiana.
can't look at comparative scores.
No, I'm not. Nebraska hasn't played Indiana. I'm just saying they lost to Indiana.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a horrible loss. That might be worse than Minnesota losing to Northwestern.
Nebraska just lost to Michigan State.
Yeah,
Lost to
I know.
Rutgers.
They all
They
stink.
lost to Rutgers.
I'm not saying they're not bad. I'm just saying 9 points. Come on, bruh.
Well, Northwestern was slightly better than everybody thought they would be.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Indiana's horrible.
And I would be a 2.5 point favorite.
Sure, why not?
Go Hawks.
And that's not the total.
Caleb
friends.
McNamara.
It's not the total.
Caleb McNamara. Yes, it's not
His
the
name
total.
is Cade, you idiot. Who would say Caleb?
But see, Nebraska's still got a chance.
Still got a chance.
They're not dead yet. They're not dead yet.
Anyway, what I was saying is I think it would be more symbolic if Iowa won the last one because it's a gross football conference and Iowa's been playing gross football but still somehow winning. I just think it would be funny.
Oh, it certainly would fit. It would also fit the conference if Nebraska somehow won. Like, no matter what happens, any team winning, except for Wisconsin, I don't feel like there's anything like redeeming about this version of Wisconsin winning. But like Minnesota would be like, oh yeah, of course you'd finally win it in the last year.
And there's nothing redeeming about any team. In the
There's
Big Ten
not,
West,
man.
is there?
See, and this is why they're doing what they're doing. Give us the top 2 teams. Well done, Kevin Warren.
Josh, if you're going to use
What,
it, if you're going
John?
to use a soapbox, make sure that it's upright and
I'll
not
stand.
buried in the ground because the
I can't wait for John's take.
Josh.
LSU's bad. What? Oh my gosh.
Break the soapbox before tomorrow, then John
Yes,
won't have it
then
anymore.
John can't get on it.
Where do you even get a new soapbox? It's not
I
the
have
1800s.
plenty of soapboxes that are hidden and
We
you'll
know
never
they're
find them.
everywhere.
Get
Hey,
them
the
out of the
officials.
studio,
Well,
John.
have I ever told
this-
you that I think all reviews should just be challenge based? No, John, you've never talked about it before.
I know he had a problem when he started labeling each individual soapbox.
Yeah. This is the ref one. This is the conference one.
Yeah, they're
this
all
is the
special.
Michigan one.
They're all special and they're homemade from the heart. I put
That's
a lot
what
of work into
Nebraskans
them.
do. They work.
They
hard.
work. They work with the. They got calluses
Hands.
on their hands.
Calloused hands, Nick.
Not a bunch of softies.
Josh writes, best case is to go 6-3 and lose the tiebreaker to Minnesota. Gophers get blown out. Now that's a dream worth realizing, John.
No.
8-4 Nebraska.
If you go to Indianapolis, at least you can visit Elmo's.
You think they'll send us if Nebraska makes it? You think we'll get to go for the show?
Well, I won't be going.
Oh. Where are you going to be?
Here.
Oh. Who do they play?
Nebraska and Creighton play the next day.
Oh, that's the Cray-Braska game.
We could do the show, post-game
No,
show.
I am not.
And then
No.
drive
No.
to Omaha.
Just
Not
take the
gonna
red
do
eye,
it.
John.
Just
Not-
take the red. Just take the red.
Sell some of your
I've done
soapboxes.
the Indy trip before. Didn't go well last time. I'm not going to have that stink come back on me again.
It was pretty bad. Adam writes in, they're dead. I'm more concerned with finding one more win than I am winning the West.
Well, on that subject.
Oh, good Lord. I thought we were going to be positive.
Well, that was the positive subject.
Oh, time to be negative.
Positive
again. Boys. Yeah, understandable. Can we talk also at the top of the happy hour just a tiny bit about Tony White? Because I got this email.
Oh, do we have
well,
to?
I just got this email.
He's not going to USC.
I got this email. Not sure anyone in Nebraska media wants to touch the possibility of losing White. What do you say? We're afraid to discuss the topic?
Here's all you need to know about Tony White. If he gets a head coaching gig that he likes, he's gone. That's all you need to know.
I agree. He's not going to USC.
Maybe I would maybe throw in the caveat of an NFL coordinator.
But yeah, he's not leaving.
He's not going to go to USC. He's not going to take a similar job at another school. He's going to, if he wants to leave, he's going to be a head coach, or he's going to go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's all you need to know.
All right, I guess
about
we were not.
White.
Guess we were not afraid to talk about it.
And if I'm wrong, you can come back and throw it in my face and say, see, we should have talked about it. Then it wouldn't have happened. The sad hour is coming up next. Well, we do have to play the sad
We
one.
do.
It truly is sad because nobody's team's won this
First
week.
time in a month.
It was a bad weekend.
1620 the zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, heads up, we've got a crash with injuries on northbound 72nd at Grant. Some utility work has traffic down to just one lane on southbound 72nd between Dodge and Farnham, so be ready for delays through there. Utility work on 60th is affecting north and southbound commuters between I-80 and L Street. And then road work has traffic down to just one lane on L Street for both directions between 33rd and 24th. I'm Mike Neville.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery hopes you have yourself a classic little Christmas by entering non-winning holiday classic scratch tickets for a chance to win $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. Top prize odds vary by game. Promotion ends January 3rd, 2024.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Say it's the time of year to catch big fish in Nebraska. Zzz, blip, and go visit a state parkland. This time of year, larger game fish are putting on the fat reserves for the upcoming cold weather season and are more apt to be caught. And Nebraska's 76 area state parklands, the grounds to those remain open for all kinds of outdoor recreation, including camping. So come see us. That's it. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
It'd be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
from your mom.
It's not a happy hour.
But we're on the air. John, there's a lot
I did. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is going to make you happy. There's a lot of Tony White discourse happening now in the YouTube chat.
Good. Enjoy. I'm not going to engage in it.
Wow. Just wound him up, huh, John?
I did say this as Nebraska took possession in the last, 40 some odd seconds, whatever. I was praying for either a win or a loss. I did not want overtime.
Nick, edit that. So John says, I was praying for a loss.
Okay.
Did you want to watch any more of that game?
Well, my situation was much different than
True,
yours.
good point.
Yeah, I wasn't hosting the post-game show.
Yeah, no, I was like, Nebraska, you either need to win it here on this drive or lose it on this drive. I do not want to watch any more of this.
Yeah.
I just want to go on the air.
Because, no, I actually was looking forward to Bedlam and the Georgia.
Oh, yeah, how was it
game.
watching the last hour of those when you finally got it? Oh, wait, maybe
I was
the
on the whole time. I was watching it the whole time
okay,
while I was
there
doing
you
the
go.
show. I was watching it the whole time and enjoyed them.
While you were
Good
talking
stuff.
to the most important voice.
He was listening to the most important voice.
I had the
Gary.
3 TV setup going on.
Whoa.
Because I had the Iowa game on the phone.
Nice, because it was on Peacock.
Because it was on Peacock. And then as soon as that ended, I was like, oh, crap. Minnesota's winning. So I switched over just in time to watch. What were you thinking, Minnesota? Did you see how they lost that game?
Who?
Illinois to
It was
Minnesota.
on in here earlier.
How did he let him get that wide open? I mean, that was a bust.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bust.
That's the Big Ten West for you.
And I believe, isn't Burt undefeated against PJ?
Oh, is he?
I think he
Wow,
is.
so PJ finally got a win versus Kirk, but he couldn't get one against Bielema.
Nope.
Sorry there, PJ.
All right. Did you still want to talk about Tony White? Yo, Mr. White.
Well, I mean, let me give you just a few comments. So first of all, Mason Daniel coming to our defense. Thank you, Danny. He says the media has mentioned that possibility more than once. I don't think they're afraid of it.
Why would we be afraid of it?
I don't know where some of these opinions come from. Jay writes, he left for Syracuse. Why wouldn't he leave Nebraska? Ross writes in, John just called the USC defensive coordinator position the same job. No. Job is far superior, big step up, blah, 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 blah.
No, it's not.
Bro, so here's why I don't think he's going to leave. I don't think he's going to take another lateral move on his climb towards being a head coach. Not to mention, is that a better job in terms of in terms of John prestige? Of course it is. It's USC. They're an annual top 25 team. But that's a hard fix. It's a very hard fix given the type of practices that they do. I think that his defense at Nebraska next year, metrically, will be far superior to what it would be at USC. I think he's waiting for a head coaching job. Not to mention, and thank you to Otson for pointing this out, he is a UCLA Bruin.
Yeah.
So why is he going to go to USC?
Yeah.
Ross, I think that some people really love the idea of Nebraska just never being able to get any of these good players or good coaches to stay or stick around just because it's well, of course they would leave for a better job because that's what everyone does. Nope. That's my opinion. That's not always the case.
Yeah. He's not. It might be slightly
if
better.
I'm wrong,
but
you can
know
throw
what?
eggs at John.
But you know what? I don't think USC is a better job because guess what? To fix that disaster,
it's going to be hard, man.
Is going to be real difficult.
I don't think people realize how difficult that is because of the way in which they practice and the way in which that program operates.
Exactly. And it's got to be the right fit. The reason why he fits here is because he fits in with the Matt Rule philosophy.
Yeah,
I don't know if Lincoln Riley has a defensive philosophy.
Yeah, can you stop them one more time, then we'll score. And that obviously has not worked.
Right.
That's not to say that USC can't improve on defense. They definitely can. And that's not to say that Tony White won't leave in a month.
Sure.
I just don't think that it's going to happen unless it's for a head coaching job. I think that they're about to pay him handsomely.
I think it will be an actual step up in a career. And being a head coach is a step up in career, or going to the NFL would be a step up. Basically making a lateral move within conference. And
hey,
I think,
John,
and by the way, I think if it came down to a money issue,
John,
I think Nebraska would pay enough to keep him.
And let's do cost of living.
Yeah.
What type of salary would he have to get because I think he's about to go to, what's he making now? Close to $1 million, or is he over $1 million?
I thought he was over $1 million.
I think he's going to be 1.5 or so would be my guess. I'm going to guess he gets a sizable raise. All right. So what do you have to do to make 1.5 in Lincoln?
He makes $1 million.
Okay. So let's say let's just look at that number. So what would you have to do to do $1 million at number? It's basically $2 million, right? and the cost of living about double out in Los Angeles at this point in time. So you're talking at least $2 million, and I think Nebraska is going to pony up even more. So I think we're talking about a whole lot.
City I am moving from, Lincoln, Nebraska, to city I am moving to, Los Angeles, California, at a salary of $1 million. To maintain your current standard of living in LA Long Beach, you would need to earn $1.59 million.
Right.
The cost of living is 59% higher in LA than it is in Lincoln.
So I was wrong on the number, but still it would need to be, a sizable raise. But look, if we're wrong, Ross, feel free to email us. Jay, feel free to comment on our YouTube page.
But I think
you
if
guys
he
are
leaves,
idiots.
I think if he leaves, it's going to be for a head coaching job.
I agree. I don't think he's going to USC. All right.
So we got an email this morning from Bill. Bill said, I was tempted to call in during Big Red Overreaction, but was sober. Here's my summation of the day. After the graphic during the game showing Rule's record versus his time at Temple and Baylor, he's playing with house money. So Bill says Matt Rule is playing with house money.
So real quick, pause. He is ahead of...
He's ahead of where he was at both Temple and Baylor in his first year.
Okay.
So on that note, he is playing with house money. Rule has a track record playing the quarterback previously that no one saw coming. Harbaugh fits that role now. Remember when Harbaugh was recruited for his strong arm? Would Harbaugh have developed somewhat more if he hadn't have been shelved by last year's OC?
Yes.
In summary, look for Harbaugh to start the rest of this year and next year. Now, that is what Bill said.
I'm just a Bill.
What did Matt Rule say today? Because he was asked about Harbaugh, not on this exact point.
Yeah. Hey, this Bill guy emailed. What do you think about this?
Listen to the reason.
Do you have the question in here too? Or is
no,
this
I
just
don't
an
have the
answer?
question, but it's about Heinrich Harbaugh. And this is the spiel that Matt Rule went into.
Here's what I love about Heinrich. Not everyone would want to be the quarterback in this situation right now.
I paused it because that's important. Not everyone would want to be the quarterback in this situation. I think that's another message.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot riding on your shoulders. Like if you don't play well, if you don't execute the option well, if you don't execute the zone reads well, if you don't execute the power sweeps well, if you don't throw the ball well, there's not a lot of margin for error for us on offense right now. Like, we don't play well. And so every play is really kind of squarely on his shoulders. And like, as we continue to grow, you're hoping that, you just hand the ball off every once in a while and we're just playing at a level where it's not all on his shoulders. But to go out and be the quarterback on a team that's battling every week in close games, I mean, you have to want to do that. Everyone says they want to do that. You have to want to do that. And
again, pause.
Yeah.
That's what I respect so much about Heinrich. He wants to do it. Like, he wants to be out there. He wants to get. And so, as I've told him, when I coach Heinrich, I'm not coaching him for right now. I'm coaching him for like next year and the year after. Not that we're not trying to win right now, but we're going to address everything as it comes, and we're going to push him through because I think he's a winner.
It's that last part that's rather interesting because it leans into Bill's email, makes it sound like, hey, we're not looking at Heinrich as just a stopgap for this year. He's our guy.
Mm-hmm.
We're willing to move forward with him next year too. Now, when we asked Mitch Sherman about this, and yes, there's some truth to this that, Matt Rule's not going to say, yeah, we're just trying to patch things along. And then next year we're going to bring in somebody better and we're going to move Heinrich to tight end. Of course, he's not going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's going to say things to continue to lift up his players. That doesn't guarantee that he's not going to go out and look for another quarterback or two, but he is at least giving credence to the idea that we look at this guy more long-term than maybe some of others of you do. And then later, when talking about Harbaugh, listen to the comparison that he makes.
PJ Walker, I think he's 2-0 in the NFL this year as a starter for the Browns. PJ's sophomore year, he had more interceptions than touchdowns, and we just kept coaching him. We were hard on him. He grew, and pretty soon he wasn't that. So I think it's just always going back to, hey, why is this happening? Is it a decision? Is it technique? Like, do I have two hands on the ball in the pocket? Do I not? Where are the opportunities that are there? And I'll just say this, Heinrich is like a lot of other guys on our team. It's just he's more magnified.
So I put this email up earlier this morning before Rule even got to the podium and asked the question, do you agree with Husker fan Bill? With an offseason of actual quarterback development, could Harbaugh be next year's starter because Rule is playing with house money?
So there's a lot in there. I mean, first of all, I want to start with like the house money and almost like just discuss that for like 5 seconds. So does that imply that he goes into next year with like less pressure from the fans because he's ahead of his skis, if you will, this year? Because I would push back on that pretty harshly and say there's no way that this fan base is going to be like, well, he was ahead of schedule in year 1, so he doesn't have to grow a whole lot in year 2. If let's pretend they ran it back again next year, Harbaugh was the guy, and they had a lot of the same issues or very minimal improvement, people wouldn't be like, well, it's year 2. No, they'd be pretty frustrated by that, and they'd say you made a huge mistake at quarterback. So I would disagree with that. I don't know how much deeper we want to go in that. I feel like we can move on from that part. Now, Adam agrees with you. He texts into 402-951-1620. He says, I'm with Bill. I think they're going to run it back with Harbaugh. I think that they would have thrown Sims or Purdy back out there if he wasn't building Harbaugh for the future. He doesn't want to hurt his confidence. Now, I'll be honest. When I heard that quote earlier, I wasn't looking at it through the lens of the email from Bill or that mindset at all. I thought about it from a perspective that I have personally, and that was, this is so inside baseball, but back in my early days on this show, I really didn't know how to prepare, how to do prep. And so I leaned a lot on you of like, John will come up with the ideas and I'll just kind of play off of him throughout our time. And then we got a new boss at one point, and there was a time where you were gone because of a basketball game. And he asked me, so what's it like to prepare for this show when John's gone versus what's it like to prepare when he is there? And so I told him, and he gave me great advice that I've used in the year since. And he said, just always prepare like John's not there. So you always have information, you always have things that you could, if maybe you have something that you would hit on or you want to bring the conversation. And so as we move away from me and move to the quarterback, I think that any quarterback worth their salt at any level, and no matter what place they're at on the depth chart, I feel like should prepare like it's a long-term thing. And so now I really do think part of that answer too was he's not going to say like, yeah, he's not our guy next year. Like Rule would never say that. Right. He is way too smart for that. But I just think that is kind of, and to me, it's a little coach speak, but I think that there is a lot of truth in prepare at your job like you are at the top or you're working your way to the top or whatever, because that, I mean, you should always want to have good work habits. And if anything, this is a tremendous learning experience because in my opinion, Nebraska should go into next season and their backup quarterback should have started, if he remains healthy the rest of the year, 10 games. That's, in my opinion, what they should have on the roster next year, assuming he is still on the roster. But I would be very disappointed if he was a starter next year. I'll be honest. If he started game 1, because that would tell me either that they did bad in the portal, which would be a bad thing. Yeah. Or I know they get to watch him in practice every day, but it just doesn't seem like he has that ability. Seems like we disagree on this.
No. Because I've been saying for a few weeks the starting quarterback next year is not currently on the roster.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that Harbaugh doesn't have a future. Because it's obvious they love his competitive spirit. As a coach, I would want a Heinrich Harbaugh on my roster because there's something you can do with him.
I would too.
Because he is a competitor and he is a team guy. You want people like that, and he's a good athlete. You want those things on a football team. And Matt Rule being the guy who loves to take these pieces of clay and mold them into different things and recruit athletes, it kind of fits that mantra. It may not fit that mantra perfectly at quarterback, but there's a lot of different layers to this because it's obvious. They're not running an offense that they were prepared to run this year. But they're running it because
they have to.
They have to. And
because he wants to be the quarterback.
And so they made it fit. But I can't imagine that this is the offense that's moving forward. Chris was one of the first people to respond to my original tweet He said, I can buy the argument of the emailer. Rule worked with Brewer at Baylor for 3 years and P.J. Walker for 4 years at Temple. However, Brewer and Walker both fit the offensive scheme that Rule wanted. The question moving forward is, does Heinrich Harbaugh fit what Rule is trying to do, or is this a filler year?
See, to me, it's very obvious that this is not what they are trying to do. It's very obvious.
Unless Marcus Satterfield has an epiphany and says, man, I really like coaching this option stuff. I think I'm going to keep doing it. I can't imagine this is the offense that Marcus Satterfield signed up for. Now, others will say, well, then you need to get rid of Satterfield. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. And in all fairness to Marcus Satterfield, you can't put the struggles of this year entirely on him.
No, because this wasn't the plan.
This was not the plan. I've said it 1,000 times this season. If you would have gone back in time and told the guys in that offensive meeting room, hey, this is what you're going to be doing this season, they all would have looked at you screw-eyed.
I said, what?
Because this is not this was not in the plan.
Yeah.
This was not in the plan.
Yeah, and Amazing Daniel, clearly not when they were recruiting Dylan Raiola and Danny Kalin. Look at those guys.
Right.
Look at the offenses that they run in. And that's not this. And I mean, John, the dirty little secret about this is Harbaugh's not even that good at running the option. So it's not even like they wanted.
And that's not even his fault. He
no,
was never prepared to do
that's
it.
not meant to be a criticism. More, if this was the offense that he suddenly had an epiphany on, it wouldn't be because of the results right now.
Well, they'd have got someone else different out of the portal.
Bingo. It would have been for damn sure that this isn't what they want to do.
The Night Monkey responded, mark my words, Harbaugh will improve 100% from this year to next year, to which I responded, not trolling, serious question. Does that 100% improvement make him a capable Power 5 quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, what?
And what does 100% mean?
Yeah, and I would ask just why do you believe that? You know?
Well, and then Night Monkey responded, I know it sounds funny when you say those.
Yes.
I believe
you,
his
Night
passing
Monkey.
will be better next year since the coaches will work with him on it. To which I responded, the mechanics need serious work, probably need to bring in a specialist for that. And that was a conversation Gary and I had on Saturday, was about bringing in a quarterback coach. Listen, I'm never going to say you can't change. But Heinrich Harbaugh's throwing mechanics are what they are. And it's going to take a lot of work with some trained professionals who are really specialized in fixing quarterback throwing mechanics. And I don't think those people currently exist on Nebraska's coaching staff.
On top of that, like the game would need
in
to
order
slow
to
down.
make his throwing mechanics work.
And then the game would have to slow down for him. Like there's just a lot of things that would have to change.
Sure.
You know, it's not to say it can't happen. I did not, and this is a bad example right now because he's really struggling in the NFL this year, but I mean, none of us saw Josh Allen coming. None of us saw him going from Wyoming quarterback who throws 5 picks versus Nebraska to MVP candidate, taking a team to an AFC championship game. None of us saw that coming. So it can happen, but it seems like too big of a risk to take in year 2. And I apologize for someone who said this earlier, and now I don't have the text or tweet open or email, but the schedule gets really tough. The schedule gets really, really tough.
Yeah.
Next year, and it's going to change. And so rolling the dice with, I mean, he'd have to have 100% level improvement. I mean, he really, really would for me to feel comfortable. But I'll be honest, man, I wouldn't be comfortable if we find out ahead of game 1 versus whatever team it is, Northern Iowa, that he's a guy. I will be disappointed, and it will certainly change how I view the start of the season. I still don't buy that that's going to happen, but I've been wrong before.
Jason on Twitter says, I somewhat agree with the email. Heinrich reminds me a lot of Martinez under Frost. Make some good plays, then make some bonehead plays.
No way.
We're going to find out how well Rule can develop quarterbacks because Frost didn't with Martinez.
That's unfair to Adrian Martinez.
Yes, it is.
Come on, Adrian.
Yes, it is. Because Adrian Martinez, for whatever faults he had, he was a quarterback that was designed for what Frost had in mind with his system.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, Frost's system was whatever.
His career didn't go the way that we thought it would, especially after what he was doing in year 1. But go back and look at what he was doing against Wisconsin's defense or Ohio State's defense that year. Even Iowa's defense in the second half. Go watch that and then watch Harbaugh. No, we're talking about an entirely different quarterback. That's way unfair.
Yeah, I would completely
Way
agree.
unfair.
The 614 rule says,
put your name on Twitter, weirdos.
I could agree with Fan Bill. I think a lot of Heinrich's mistakes are really not his. When you get a guy with limitations, you want to design play calling to his strengths. I don't think current OC does him any favors in that regard, but in the offseason, he can be developed. Again, one of the things that you're going to have to develop is working on those throwing mechanics.
Well, also, what strengths does this offense have?
Well, that's the other part.
See, and that's where, again, I don't want to defend Satterfield like a ton, but I mean, it's very hard to judge him right now. And it's funny, we just got a text from Brett up in Minnesota. It says everyone needs to stop pretending Sat makes the decisions on offense. Rule has a play sheet and is active on the headsets when we're on offense, not the case on defense. And that's fine. Whomever is running things in offense, it's just they don't have strengths. They just don't, They break out a few
I don't
runs.
think Rule's making the play calls.
I don't either. I think he has a play sheet, but I don't think he's making the calls.
I think the play calls are coming from Satterfield.
Yeah.
Johnny says, Rule is absolutely not playing with house money. Laugh emoji. If we get to 6 or 7 next year, we'll want 8 or 9, 9 and 10 or so on. The schedules don't get easier either. So no, Nebraska needs a legitimate Power 5 quarterback. Texas has 3. Go grab one.
Yeah, for sure. And again, not to belabor the point on house money, but no, that it's just not the case. People will always start asking for more. Always start asking for more.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things to this.
Wow, Jordan says Harbaugh reminds me of the other Martinez. Man, I also will disagree with that.
No, that's not fair.
Yeah, that Martinez, first of all, a much better runner. Second of all, a much better passer. I know that Adrian, he caught a lot of flack, and a lot of it deservedly so for him as a thrower. Again, he was night and day better than Harbaugh. Adrian Martinez Taylor Martinez was Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year in 2012.
Right.
Like that guy was. I know he lost Nebraska games. He won them a ton of games.
Now, okay, here's one example. Taylor did go to an outside specialist to work on his mechanics.
Before that very year, before 2012, he went and changed his
But that's what I'm
motion.
saying. I don't think there's anybody currently on this staff that is able to go and fix the throwing mechanics of Heinrich Harbaugh, which I think it's a must. Because you can't just be a straight option quarterback in this day and age in football. You've got to have the threat of the passing game.
Well, not to. I don't want to pick on him, but he's not Tommy Frazier running the option.
No,
he's not Frost. He's not Crouch. He's not those guys.
And I don't think they're not going to that. They're not going to go to the full Tom Osborne offense.
No, of course not, because that's not the plan. A text from the 402. Why have you spent all day talking about Heinrich Harbaugh and not the unskilled, inexperienced O-line?
I mean, yeah, the O-line's been a problem, but that's not that is part of the reason they lost. And again, Rule had a good point. A lot of the focus is on Heinrich because of the position he plays, and that's true.
It's what it's like at every level of football.
But you can't blame a lot of these turnovers. Heinrich Harbaugh is on pace. Here's the graphic. Heinrich Harbaugh is on pace to have the worst fumble rate of any quarterback in the last 12 years who has at least 100 carries. And we had this graphic at the beginning of the season, how the fumble rate and leaning on the quarterback in the run game could be a detriment. Harbaugh's fumble rate is 9.3%. Adrian's worst year.
Yeah, what was Adrian's worst year?
Was 8.5, and that was his first year.
Yeah.
The worst year of Taylor Martinez, well, this only goes back to 2012, but Martinez, when he led the country in fumbles, 8.2%. Harbaugh's at 9.3, worst fumble rate of any of the quarterbacks the last 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not totally on him. Yes, it is there's a lot of flaws on the offense, but come on, people. He's not a Power 5 quarterback. Not the kind of Power 5 quarterback you can. I mean, he's a stopgap for this year. I'll say it.
Of course, he's doing enough.
But
in a lot of games,
next year and beyond, unless you are willing to put in a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work, and even then, is Nebraska in the position? Do they have the house money to once again treat the quarterback like a project position?
No. And I think the answer to that is absolutely not.
That's really the ultimate question. If you think that they can afford to make the quarterback a project position, then your answer is absolutely. But if not, then your answer is they have to change.
Brian writes in an email that I definitely disagree with. He says, Kalen will be the quarterback next year with Harbaugh as a backup / H-back. No, he will not.
No.
Danny Kalen is not starting next year either.
No.
Starting quarterback's not on the roster, but it's not Danny Kalen.
No, I don't believe that's the case. And hell, there's enough argument in this town about whether or not Nebraska got the right guy there.
I know.
There's always going to be arguments about this, I guess.
There are.
Well, they'll be bickering in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee? You talking about with the Bucks?
No. The Brewers.
I was going to remind people, the bickering this week after the game will be on 1290 Coil.
Oh.
A reminder.
Really?
Yep.
I won't be listening because I don't want to get spoiled.
That's true. That's a good point.
I don't want to get spoiled.
That's a good point.
Now, you might be done by the time I get in the car.
I was going to say. Because what time are you on? What time's your game?
1 o'clock. Yeah, I think you'll be
No. John, we'll be on at 2:30.
2-ish, 2:30, yeah, depending on how slow it is.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You might still be on. Sorry, I'm not listening.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay.
Unless I do get spoiled because some jerk walked up and said, "Hey, did you hear what the score was?" and then gave me the score.
One more tweet real fast before we talk about the Cubs. Jed says, people hate Sims by saying he was turnover prone at Georgia Tech, so why would he be better here? Heinrich Harbaugh is turnover prone, and these people think he'll be different next year.
All right. Well, we will continue and have more of Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
Hyannis? Thank God you had Terry Keneally, or we would not like you in Omaha. Just telling you.
I feel like Nebraska City's one of us.
I mean, Hemingford? You should have just gone to Wyoming. Why did you insist on staying in Nebraska? Same with you people in Whitney. Just go to Wyoming.
Go consolidate your schools.
Yeah. You know what, Crawford? You're not good enough for Wyoming. Just go to South Dakota.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Partly cloudy and cooling off tonight. Low temperature dipping back into the lower 40s. Partly cloudy, mild on Tuesday. A high temperature again in the upper 60s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, heads up, we've still got a crash on the northbound North Freeway near Ames Avenue causing delays. Road work has traffic down to just one lane for east and westbound commuters on L Street between 24th and 33rd. Traffic also down to just one lane on southbound 72nd between Dodge and Farnham. Delays on the southbound JFK from F Street to Q Street. Same goes on westbound I-80 between Q Street and Giles. I'm Mike Neville.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's Omaha.
Like getting your Fernando's fix? How would you like getting your Fernando's fix and getting 15% off? That'd be pretty fantastic. Sign up for the Fernando's Rewards program through the Fernando's app in the Apple or Google store and get a 15% discount as a welcome gift.
The Chevy Silverado 1500 with TurboMax 4-cylinder engine is changing the game in the world of full-size trucks. With 310 horsepower and over 400 pound-feet of torque, the Silverado with TurboMax engine has up to 9,500 pounds of towing capability. Test the TurboMax for yourself at Woodhouse Chevy. There's a huge selection of Silverados you can see at woodhouse.com. Find new roads in a Silverado with TurboMax engine at Woodhouse Chevy. Exit 75 off I-29 Missouri Valley or 112th and Dodge in Omaha.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So, add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line. Price max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required. Other restrictions apply.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
It's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Heavy package.
On 1620 The Zone.
Will Texan, hello, darkness, my old friend. Getting dark out sucks. At least you guys brighten a part of my day. Thank you.
Look at the beautiful sunset.
It is a
I brought it up
gorgeous
off air.
sunset. We
Oh,
got
wait,
the beautiful. Can we see it out of your camera
Can
there?
you see this? Can you hear about this?
Hold on. Hang on. Let's see.
The Rose Bowl thing next to the.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, look at that sunset.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, and the Rose Bowl. There it is. There's our sunset over the San Gabriel trees on Dodge Street.
There we go. That's pretty.
Nice.
Even with the reflection.
Yeah, even
It's
with the
still
reflection.
AM radio.
It's still AM radio. By the way, did you notice our sign's got a panel that's out? Look at
What?
that. Our sign.
Oh no!
It's Nikki and Spikoy. It's sweet.
Can't even tell what it's on.
It moves so damn fast.
Yeah, it does move very
They need
fast.
to slow that down.
Yeah, Nick.
You time to. Okay, I'll get right on it.
Yeah, tell somebody. You know people.
I'll go downstairs.
I want
and
to
start
control
pressing
that
buttons.
sign. I want to be able to control what's
I don't
on
think
that
that's
sign.
a good idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Sounds like a horrible decision.
And I can put all my soapbox takes
Damn
on
it!
it.
I was just gonna make a soapbox joke.
No, he's got the virtual soapbox.
Well, so I got here to a text from my sister. Let me see if I can find it.
His sister, by the way, was in Nebraska's band. So if you ever wonder why does John defend Nebraska's band so much, it's because
I defend them because they're
of-
hardworking
because of-
college kids who don't
See,
get paid.
It's because of Carla.
Is
It's
that-
not.
is
If
that
he
a-
didn't, if he didn't know anyone in the band, he wouldn't care. He'd make fun of him too.
No,
Wait,
I
do you
wouldn't. I've
also-
always loved the band. I love the music.
Do you also hate the band because of Carla? You
No,
just have a
Carla.
beef against
Carla
John's
seems
sister?
very nice. She makes fun of John sometimes in my mentions, and so I appreciate that of Carla. I've never met her. I'd love to meet her sometime. Where does she live? Does she live
in Lincoln?
She
You're
should
a
come to
good
her-
brother, John.
She should come to her. I always forget that John also has a brother. He tweeted about him this week, and I was like, "Oh, that's right, John has a brother." You should have Carla come to one of our remotes sometime.
Congrats on the siblings,
so I
John.
Well,
can
yeah,
meet him.
but she's going to drive to Omaha for one of our remotes.
Yeah, people do that all the time.
Anyway, she texted me, what? And then I think it's the facepalm where the emoji. I can't tell. Is that what that is?
Oh, it's like a shock. Like,
Oh, shocked. Okay, yeah. And I was like, I had no idea.
yeah, so you didn't know what was going
Because
on.
I was listening to Matt Rule's press conference
Matt Rule.
in the car. So I wasn't paying attention to other radio or certainly not texting while driving or scrolling Twitter while driving.
Tritter.
Tritter. But Craig Counsell, who just about everyone thought he was going to end up with the New York Mets,
Mm-hmm.
gets stolen away by the Cubs. A 5-year, $40 million contract, which is believed to be a record deal.
For a manager?
Yeah.
I thought the Cubs were cheap. You kept telling me we can't pay for Shohei. We're cheap. Are you guys paying for people now?
I don't know. I hope this is an idea
John
that they're
getting Shohei?
No, because
man,
we-
I want it to
Oh,
happen.
this would be
no,
amazing.
because we want to pay full price for a full player, not a half a player.
I've always liked him. He's really good, guys. Have you ever seen Shohei?
He's only half the player he used to be.
Wow. Half the players still an MVP candidate, though, John.
Yeah, but it's not worth the price.
So I mentioned to you earlier, you probably missed the scuttlebutt.
Yeah, what happened?
Okay, so I started seeing these tweets pop up, including this one from Ken Rosenthal. And
And
so
his cute bow ties.
now, real quick, there had been rumors. So Craig Counsell was with the Brewers.
Yes. His contract had expired, and the Mets had been long in thought to be like the team that he would go sign.
No, first of all, why didn't the Brewers re-up him? Because he's a good manager.
Well, because Counsell he's wanted to reset the managerial market.
Who he has?
Yes.
So he is wanting to get paid.
Because, well, not only for himself, but also for all managers. Because even with this raise, which, by the way, would make him $8 million a year, he still is making less than John Calipari, than Nick Saban, than Monty Williams of the Pistons.
Wow.
And Bill Belichick.
Yeah, exactly.
Because managers have not usually, I mean, of all the major sports,
they don't get the bag.
You get better bag for being
Behind
a
the
college
bag.
football
Of
coach or a
course.
college basketball coach than you do for being a manager. So part of this has also been him wanting to, hey, we need more love here, managers.
Yes.
We need to get more. And so that's why it was probably not likely he was going to stay in Milwaukee.
Okay, so the Mets were the rumored team.
Yeah.
So this was a tweet from 12:10 this afternoon from Ken Rosenthal, as you said, of bow tie fame. Craig Counsell will manage next season, but not the Brewers or Mets. Sources tell The Athletic. He is heading to a team with an existing manager. And then he mentioned who the Mets are hiring. And so this started leaking out from a lot of different people where it was like, the Mets got who did they get? Carlos Mendoza. The Mets are hiring Carlos. So then everyone was like, well, what the hell does this mean for Craig Counsell? And then it came out, yeah, he's not going to the Brewers, but he is going to manage. So then everyone was just trying to figure out, so who's he going to? Who doesn't know that they're getting fired? And come to find out that it's your team.
It's
and
David
now,
Ross.
Was David Ross, where was he at in terms of his contract situation?
No, he was still under contract.
Man.
Do you think he found that over-
and you know, it didn't sound like he was going anywhere. Really, what this situation is like is what happened in 2014, 2015. The Cubs had Rick Renteria, who came in for Dale Swaim and managed the Cubs in 14. And this is just as the young, Chris Bryant is coming up, and they already had Rizzo, and they had
Tom
just
Rizzo.
drafted Schwarber, and they had Baez. And it was thought that Rick Renteria was going to be the manager because he kind of overachieved a little bit. They still had a losing record, but they overachieved. And it was thought that Rick Renteria was going to be the guy to shepherd these guys along. But then they find the hidden clause in the Joe Madden contract with the Rays that allowed him an escape. And
so
the
they got
Cubs
Joe Madden.
swooped him up. So really what this is kind of like this all over again, except obviously there's no contract clause, but there was this. The Brewers did not give the Cubs permission to talk with because technically he was still under contract until the beginning of November. So there had been no talks between Counsell and the Cubs until just a couple of days ago.
Wow.
So all of this happened very quickly. And I'm guessing the people in Milwaukee, of course, they see the Cubs as their number one rival because it's kind of a big brother, little brother thing. Cubs fans like to invade Milwaukee, and the Brewers have overachieved based on payroll, and they've been better than the Cubs the last 3-4 years.
So you like this move?
I like it, and I don't like it.
Why do you like it? Because of all the reasons you just
Counsell's a good
mentioned?
manager. Now, I'll like
why
it.
don't you like it?
I'll like it, but I'll like it more if this means the Cubs are going to go out and spend. Because if the Cubs don't go out and spend,
the GOAT,
and get a player maybe from the West Coast,
Goat Hay, as they call him.
Again, we're going to pay for full players, not half players. And we're not going to overpay. But we do need to pay.
Yeah.
Because if the plan is, hey, we're just going to have Craig Counsell do the same thing he did here as he did in Milwaukee, sure, they'll win the division, but they'll do it by overachieving. No, they need to go out and get some guys for it.
Mm-hmm.
More guys. We need more guys. And I don't like it for a couple of reasons. One, I like David Ross as a manager. I didn't think last year's problems were on David Ross.
What do you think about his?
And the other part of it is this just inspired Milwaukee to want to kick our ass even more.
So you're afraid of the bulletin board material?
Well, they'll certainly be inspired, and I don't think the Brewers are going anywhere.
What do you think
if they find another Craig Counsell, they're going to be right back where they were.
How about his thoughts on bunting? Does that trigger you at all? You're a fan of bunting. Have you seen this?
Well, I'm a fan of bunting in the right situation.
So Prince Fielder, this is a tweet from 2018, and Adam McCalvey, who is the Brewers beat writer. Prince Fielder asked to give an example of how Craig Counsell helped him as a teammate. Quote, "There was one time I was thinking about bunting. He told me if I bunted, he would punch me in the face."
And
quote.
that, John, is why bunting is beautiful.
So I realized in that moment, Sindelar, not a fan of the new Cubs manager. Not a fan.
Well, I mean, they don't really bunt in Major League Baseball anymore anyway. Until the playoffs.
Yeah, it's not called bunt ball, Josh.
It is baseball.
People forget.
So this is a conditional like of the move, but only if the
Conditional
Cubs
like.
go out and get more. They need more starting pitching.
Who was?
And they need another batter too.
Who was the dude that was on the Cubs?
What do you mean?
The manager,
Andre Dawson,
David Ross.
Oh, David Ross.
Do you think
Who was the dude?
He's a dude.
Ryan Sandberg.
Do you think he knew
Bernie
he was
Banks.
getting replaced, or do you think he found out about it as everybody else was finding the leagues?
That's a great question.
Yeah, at what point over the last however many hours, 48 hours
Yeah,
or so?
I mean, that's a great question. I hope for his sake
that it wasn't on Twitter.
that he knew that he learned about this from either Tom Ricketts or, from the front office.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and I got a soft spot in my heart for Rossi. Rossi was a huge part of that World Series team.
He was their catcher, Nick.
People forget.
Hit a home run in his last game, Game 7. So I love David Ross. Great guy.
But he never won in the playoffs. He's like Dak.
No, he hasn't had nearly as many attempts at the playoffs as Dak.
David Ross? Oh, yeah, because he's not even good enough to get into the playoffs because he's so bad in the regular season.
He's the manager.
He should manage a better season.
Thank you, Nick. Many are saying you're starting to hear this more and more.
David Ross has won as many World Series games as your boy McCarthy without a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't see McCarthy with any Super Bowls without a Hall of Fame quarterback.
That's not fair. That's totally unfair.
We all know it was all Aaron Rodgers.
No, not Aaron
Aaron will
Rodgers.
tell you himself.
You see Aaron Rodgers walking into the building tonight? Look at me, I'm walking. He's really trying to do this whole play this season.
He has a very interesting
He's either
relationship
doing
with
that
science.
I think
or
he's doing a bit.
Or he's having fun.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely trolling. I don't think he's going to play this year.
Even if he does, would the Jets even be in the playoffs for him to play in anyway?
Yeah. Did you see today that the entire AFC North is in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's the AFC North and then the division leaders and Nick, your team is in the playoffs today. It's okay.
For now.
They'll be in the playoffs.
It's a soft schedule the rest of the way until we get to the Cowboys and the Ravens.
So you'll just win every game, but then you'll play the good teams.
Basically.
What's going to happen
Congrats,
when the Cowboys
Josh. You got another win.
Like I said,
at least 2 more wins because you got the Giants this week and the Dolphins later. And as long as Dallas has a winning record, you're fine.
We're basically the new version of the greatest show on turf.
No, you're not.
You're not going to win the Super Bowl,
You
Nick.
ain't going to win no Super Bowl.
But again, the greatest show on turf in the regular season also didn't beat teams over 500.
Nick,
Because they didn't play any teams over 500.
Nick, they also went 13-3, so you'll have to win out.
Yeah, I know.
You'll have to win out.
Mm-hmm.
Have to win out.
Let me
Super
cope,
Bowl
guys.
champion.
Let me cope.
Super Bowl champions. And the one team that did have a winning record that they lost to, they got revenge on them in the Super Bowl.
So that's the only team above 500 that they played the whole season.
I'm trying to remember who the other 2 losses were to.
I looked this up earlier. 99 Rams. Let's go to the season real fast before we go to content. The 99 Rams lost to the Tennessee Titans when they were 6-0. Then they lost to the Detroit Lions. Right, that team definitely couldn't have been above 500, right? No, they were 8-8. And then they lost to the Eagles the last day of the season. And the Eagles were 5-11.
Yeah, and they didn't need to win.
Wow, so they only played one team above 500 the whole year.
Plus, they had a last place schedule.
Wow, so they actually had a softer schedule than what the Dolphins have.
Well, yeah, they did.
But
then they proved it by winning the championship.
The big issue was that the NFC Central. No, that was the NFC West at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Was just bad. The division took a huge step back that year because of the 49ers.
Because we scared the 49ers
into being bad.
Yeah.
Plus so they beat the Ravens in week 1. The Ravens went 8-8. So, not everyone was trashed. But then they won the Super Bowl, and that's all that matters. All right. What do we got in content? Topics. Nick reading.
Things.
Nick stumbling over words.
Sometimes.
Yep. It's all on the table.
Next on 1620 The Zone.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Hi, this is Kathy Kenoyer. 'Tis the season at Glasshouse Market within Kenoyer Garden Center. We'd like to be a part of your family's holiday tradition. Whether you're looking for a gift for that special someone or a wreath for your front door, we'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market full of Christmas decor, novelty items, and fresh greens. Shop Glasshouse Market, located within Kenoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
Kenoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
Sure, you could go elsewhere for your health and wellness products, or better yet, why not just come to 42 Degrees? Those other places don't even come close to the wide variety and premium disposable e-juice, CBD, Delta, Kratom, glass pipes, vaporizers, and other great products. With the friendliest, most knowledgeable, and professional staff who will find the right products just for you. If you're looking for a one-stop shopping experience, look no further. 42 Degrees. By your mom's house.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical. 1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Rich Eisen here for Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up, the LA Chargers travel to New York to face the Jets. Justin Herbert and the Bolts were impressive in last week's win over the Bears. Now they face a Jets team who have won 3 in a row. Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner have the call on air and on the free live stream sponsored by AutoZone on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 1620, The Zone.
Get ready for holiday feast season with Pepto-Bismol.
Uncle Derek's here with his famous fried turkey. Hey, Aunt Mary brought the mac and cheese. Donna's here with the potato salad.
Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief for unexpected stomach upsets. So enjoy the holidays. Pepto has you covered, no matter who made the potato salad.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
O'Reilly.
See better and drive safer with new bulbs from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a better view of the road and save. Receive a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate plus 2 times O Rewards points with the purchase of Sylvania Silver Star Ultra or select ZXE Twin Pack bulbs. Replace your old bulbs and see better. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Look, I made you some
Unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike content.
Unsportsmanlike content. Content that's unsportsmanlike.
All right, rock and roll, Nick.
Dak Prescott was good yesterday.
What the hell?
374 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Dak Prescott was bad yesterday. Stepped out of bounds on a 2-point conversion, took a crippling sack, and got a delay of game penalty on the final drive. What's our verdict on one Dakota Prescott on Big D overreaction?
Big D overreaction.
I'd say that yesterday was a great representation for not only the Dak Prescott experience, but the Dallas Cowboys experience. Oftentimes good enough, loaded with talent, making plays, but too often a mistake via a half foot or an inch or whatever at the most inopportune time. I thought that was honestly one of the best games he's played in his entire career. And if he would have been able to lead the comeback, I probably would have said that was the best performance of his entire career. But as usual, they come up just short. They pull me in and make me think it could finally happen, and then they stomp on my nuts.
Should really think about a different team.
Or wear a cup.
Or
I should wear a cup.
Wear a cup.
I should wear a cup.
You know how Josh McDaniels got fired last week? Remember that? Well, how about this story from Jay Glazer yesterday?
However, the big thing was last Thursday, there was this big airing of the grievance meeting, and players just unloaded on Josh McDaniels from captain to player to player. And finally, Josh McDaniels actually had Antonio Pierce get up and speak on behalf of him and the coaches. When Antonio Pierce got up there, he said, look, guys, we have to have our own culture. It's got to be about culture here. And we also have to look at it. And he brought up the old Giants team that beat the Patriots, Josh McDaniels' team, in the Super Bowl in 2007 season. He said, no matter who we played, we thought we could beat them. We had a game plan that we could beat them. We had to believe that, and that's not here. We have to believe it here at the Raiders. We could beat anybody. Well, he finishes up that speech. Everybody thinks they're great, except for Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels then goes over to him and says, don't ever talk about the Patriots like that. And then you really saw how divided that building got. That got up to Mark.
What the hell?
That is insane. That this guy is
Incredible.
so defensive of something that happened 16 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, Pierce brought up, and it's about belief.
Yeah.
It just shows you where McDaniel's mind has always been. It's like this guy he's stuck in his past. He's stuck in New England. And this is why he's never succeeded as a head coach and never will succeed as a head coach.
Couldn't agree with you more. This is a wild story, and I do not think he's ever going to be a head coach again. I leave that piece of intel even more steadfast in that belief.
If he is, then
that owner's a moron.
Yes.
Complete and utter moron if anyone were to hire him to be the head coach again.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Purdue landed a 7'3" center over the weekend. Purdue loves tall men. Eh?
Certainly have a type, do the Boilermakers. I look forward to seeing how good this player is before, Greg and Lincoln, no offense intended, before they flame out historically in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that's true. Daniel Jacobson, 7'3".
That's tall. Would you want to be that tall?
No.
How tall would you want to be? What's the height where anything after that and you're like, this is too tall?
I think anything taller than 6'2".
I was going to say 6'4". I think 6'4".
Yeah, I was thinking 6'4", 6'5", because I'm thinking of if I were that much taller, how much I would hang off the edge of my bed. I don't want to do that.
Great point, John.
So at some point, it's going to get annoying to get into a car that's low to the ground.
Yeah. And I like cars that are low to the ground. Corvette, Woodhouse, Chevy. Go get one today.
Nice. I think our former producer, may he rest in peace, I think he's like 6'3" or 6'4".
He's tall.
So he's a tall man, relatively speaking. Yeah, being 7'3" would suck.
Here's a tweet from something called JJ McCarthy fan, aka Josh's latest burner account. The University of Michigan is a public institution that has several science and engineering labs that are funded by the U.S. military. If Ohio State did indeed hack into the University of Michigan's computers, I expect everyone involved to be charged with treason. Is JJ McCarthy fan onto something here?
What do you think, John? This account brings up some excellent points.
Seriously.
Treason, John.
Are we sure that the ex-president and still your ex-president isn't running the PR for Michigan football right now? Because their defense basically has been, well, everyone else is doing it, and whataboutism. That's all they have, and now it's these weird conspiracies. And crack-brained, technically, Michigan, you're a cheater. So deal with it.
And you know what our ex-president and Michigan have in common? They're both going to win their version of championships in 2024.
No, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're
Harbaugh's
not,
going to be
man.
lifting up the VATE
no,
trophy.
They're not.
And
because the
Trump
GOAT
will lift up the electoral
back.
map.
The GOAT is back, and
Who's
his
the
name
GOAT?
is Nick Saban.
Oh.
Meh.
Wow, what the hell?
It's a weird noise for an elephant to make.
Ha.
I can't wait till the whole country is rooting for Alabama to beat Michigan.
Go Blue!
Roll Tide!
Go Blue! Get a Michigan sweatshirt to wear to the Grum that day.
I will. You know what?
What?
If it's Michigan, Alabama, I'm buying Alabama gear.
Oh my gosh, I'll buy a Michigan shirt then. Wow.
Can I get one of the? Is there like a jersey like that one kid has?
Severe?
I'm sure someone can make one for you.
We can make one for you, Nick.
Nice. Speaking of Michigan, we still don't know what their punishment will be or if there will be one. Will this be the week we finally learn what their fate is?
To a degree, yes, because I think that some form of punishment's going to come down. But if they're saying they're going to sue, it's going to put it in limbo.
Yep.
So I think we'll learn something by Wednesday. What exactly that means for the final 3 games of the regular season, I don't know. I will tell you this though, Mr. Petiti is rooting so hard for Penn State this weekend and Ohio State in a couple. They just want them to take care of this mess for them.
Now, the catch, if Michigan sues,
22
won't a lot of the stuff, because I'm sure there's still stuff that hasn't gotten out. There will be more stuff that gets out in discovery. So that nuclear option that Michigan has might not be the great option you think it is.
Speaking of winners, Ohio State has had many fine quarterbacks, but they always fail in the NFL. Until yesterday. One C.J. Stroud of the Texans had the highest passer rating by a rookie quarterback in history. He threw for the most yards in a game by a rookie and became only the 6th passer to have 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Is C.J. Stroud going to break the cycle of Buckeye busts at the position?
Yes.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
He's awesome.
Texas A&M defender Shamar Turner was ejected from Saturday's game against Ole Miss for punching an offensive lineman square in the junk. Is that punishment enough, or should there be more coming?
Oh, bro!
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And listen, I'm going to go as hard as a paint on this as I used to with one Draymond Green who had a nervous tick in his leg. He always moved people in the balls. I thought Draymond should have been suspended for the rest of the playoffs. This kid should be suspended for the rest of the season.
Wow, for a nut punch?
Yes.
Wow,
for something like that?
I would disagree. How many?
No, that is a place you do not go.
Yeah,
you
but
do
the rest
not go
of the
unless
season,
it is in self-defense.
That's harsher than Harbaugh's going to get.
Exactly.
I'd say give him a game. Give him 2 games. Let him play on senior day. Let him play
3 games left.
Yeah, let him play the last game of the season.
He doesn't deserve a senior day.
In the words of David
he deserves
Lee.
it. Actually, you know what?
It's the last game of the season.
Here's a better punishment.
What's that?
The entire
Ole
Miss team gets to line up and kick him in the nuts.
No, not the whole team. Just
It's either
like
that or the whole season. You choose.
What about the other guy? Can just return, an eye for an eye?
No. It's got to be more.
Jeez.
Well,
ouch.
I don't think there are eyes in this case.
Did you get hit in the balls when you were a kid, like really bad? Like this is, I
Yeah.
feel like if you ranked the things that John hates the most, it'd be like racism 2, nut punches 1.
I hate getting hit in the nuts.
I know you do.
It's not fun.
No, I agree.
And it's a chicken poop way of fighting.
It is.
Unless it is literally self-defense. You're literally trying to protect your life.
Or football.
So
in
you would
the
have done it
30s.
against Mr. Dolph back in the day?
Well, Dolph wasn't going to kill me. One of his underlings would have.
Get over here, Goebbels.
The noise it makes.
You never know what they had going on in there. That's the over, by the way.
Tonight, there's Nebraska ball against an opponent called Lindenwood. It's one of 70 such games on opening day where a Division I team is playing a not Division I team. Does college basketball know how to open a season or what?
Man, this is seriously garbage. Next week on Tuesday is when they do that thing in like Chicago or whatever, that doubleheader on ESPN. And like the usual 4, it's like Kentucky, Duke, Carolina, Kansas, whatever, Michigan State. They're involved. But if I just can't imagine being a super diehard fan of college basketball and like, this is how the sport returns.
It
Have
is
some panache.
Well, now True TV's doing this, and Oregon just beat Georgia. So there's
Oregon.
There's a couple of good games, but man, this is some serious SEC November football scheduling.
It is indeed.
Except it's November and it's college basketball.
So it is.
By most teams.
Oh, it is dark.
Yeah.
You
know what else is dark?
Are there no streetlights on? Why is it pitch black?
I don't even remember. What did I? Oh, I know what I had in bed of the day.
As I said, it's dark. when we return.
1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
How many oysters can you down? 12, 24, 36? Test your limit at Shuck's Fish House on Wednesday and Thursday during Oyster Fest. You can get 36 oysters for only $24. Bring a friend and your appetite. Find out more at shucksfishhouse.com.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, oh, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
I gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. All over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep a smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
It's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Ollie, oxen free!
The 1620 The Zone.
And you know why I'm laughing, don't you? Now, it's time for the unsportsmanlike conduct bet of the day.
Just a little bit under where some folks would like to see this one wind up.
Brought to you by nobody.
You gotta be kidding.
Really, we don't have a sponsor. Sorry.
All right, first of all, Lindenwood is D1, John. You were wrong there. Second of all, we all sucked.
Could have fooled me.
John had Nebraska minus 9.5. An alternate line plus 190. I had Nebraska to win an exact score of 31-10. It was going to be plus 14,000. I was really trying to make a nice play. Nick had the Dolphins. It was a bad week, folks. Everyone says Nebraska basketball is going to be better this year. I'll believe the people. If they lie to me, they lie. Nebraska minus 22.5 tonight, minus 106 versus the D1 school Lindenwood.
Nova, Kentucky,
type,
Kansas, Illinois, Marquette, Michigan State, Ohio State, North Carolina, Penn State, Syracuse,
Take a
a
breath.
10-leg parlay, minus 418.
That's hilarious.
That's insane.
Nick?
Apparently, I like very mid teams. So give me
Yes.
the Chargers on the money line, minus 184.
Oh, man, why didn't I do Monday Night Football? I'm such an idiot. That's
Tough
the bet
look
of the
for you.
day.
Iowa.
That is a tough look for me.
I'm actually now rooting for my parlay not to hit, just because
Yeah.
I want to see someone get embarrassed tonight.
Bet of the day. It's almost done. We're all as excited as you are for it to end.
I wonder how many people think this is a bit and don't actually think that we're going to end it.
I don't know, but it's ending.
It's ending.
It's going to be a happy day. I'm excited for the future of this final segment of the Grum. Every day. Every day.
Maybe when Hot D comes back, it'll just be strictly Hot D.
Hot D.
We got previews for that, by the way.
Oh, is there
Yeah.
a trailer?
There's some teasers.
I know that it's coming back next year.
I think it's spring next year.
Yeah, but the writers' strike and the actors' strike and
John, they filmed this so long ago. There's all the
They have been filming this for a while. They probably have things
to
in
do
the
all
can.
yeah,
of
but
the
once
editing and stuff.
Yeah, but once the writing, if you have to edit anything during the writer's strike, you couldn't do it.
But they filmed So, because the show, because it's outside of America, it is working under different rules.
Oh. Really?
Mhm.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's going to be back.
Does this mean we're going to get a whole bunch of new episodes of Downtown Abbey?
I don't know.
Downton, and I think Downton's done.
That's your wife's. Yeah, that show's been dead.
I
for
think
a
they had a
while.
movie and then
Oh,
they
they
were
killed
good.
off Downtown Abbey?
I don't know. Ask your wife. Doesn't she love that show?
Is it now Uptown Abbey?
They did a movie, didn't
There's
they?
a new
How about
season of The
Suburb Abbey?
Crown coming out, guys. At some
What about Rural Abbey?
I don't know. Yeah, when is the new season of House of the Dragon? Season 2, now in production. I think it's next spring.
I also think it's spring.
Huh.
There you go.
We call it Hot D Fun Time or something.
Hot D Fun Time. Well, I'll be back at the arena tomorrow.
I cannot believe college basketball is here.
Folks,
it's already started.
It's already here.
The boulder has started rolling down the hill, baby. You can't stop that sucker until April.
Days will be getting longer by then.
Yes, they will.
Bye.